Right, let's get cracking with Street Talk for this week. We are going to start off, Gemma, with a little bit of clickbait that's been sent over by lovely listener Jonathan for the week.
Thank
I hope
you.
you're ready for this. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
He's also, I just want to say, he's told us he went to the Corrie tour last weekend. And I don't think, sorry, is this a spoiler? I don't think so. Amy Robbins was the star tour on Sunday, and he, as well as somebody else who's written into us as well, have both confirmed that Amy Robbins has said, yes, I'm still in it for the time being.
I'm sticking around.
So this is what we have been asking for, because Christina Boyd is the best thing that's hit Coronation.
Christina Boyd.
Yeah, that's her name. Amy Robbins, Christina Boyd, is the best thing that has been introduced into Coronation Street for a very, very long time. And we were like, oh, when's she going to go? I was literally, last week I was thinking, oh, she's probably going to go this week. But no, apparently she's still here. She's still filming. They're filming Christmas, so we have got months at least.
Bloody great character.
She's
bloody great
so
actress.
good. She is bloody great actress. She is one.
If she was only there for her hair, that would be enough. Because that's magnificent.
She's just so Corrie in her performance, and I am chuffed to bits that she's staying.
Theo off today and then drinking his wine.
Yeah.
After he left was
stuff,
just
amazing
perfect.
Stuff. So thank you, Jonathan, for letting us know this. And I think it was Claire who wrote in and told us this as well. I'm just having, Claire told us the same thing.
Thank you, both of you.
Very much, both of you.
Yeah.
So clickbait then, Gemma. Coronation Street fans work out Debbie Webster's secret child, and he's in Weatherfield.
Rum.
No, we finished that bit of the podcast. People listen on YouTube aren't going to get that reference. No, Ollie is not Debbie Webster's secret child, according to this fan theory. That's a good idea. Ooh, 40s.
40s?
Yeah, she had
Tim.
this child very young. No, but that would be an interesting twist, considering we know who Tim's mum is. In the storyline.
What? In the storyline? What does that mean?
In the same storyline as Debbie at the moment.
It's not Carl.
It is Carl, yeah. Yeah, Coronation Street fans apparently we all believe that Carl is Debbie's secret son.
It could be. That would be quite funny.
Carl was born off screen and Debbie had left the programme at that point. So, don't think that means she was wearing her holy hand grenades today, wasn't she? And that would certainly be a bit of a bombshell revelation.
That would be amazing. Because why are they so tolerant of him? And also, Elaine is the stepmom, right? She bloody hates this kid.
Yeah.
Is she the stepmom or the mum? She's the mum.
No, she is Carl's mum, allegedly.
But she bloody hates him. She hates him more than anybody.
Carl was just saying last week that she was very disapproving of him.
Yeah.
Wasn't she?
Yeah.
Right, are you gonna
every bad thing that Debbie and Kevin know about Carl is because Elaine has told them. They don't know this man.
Well, I don't.
Have you not heard that when they talk something bad about him, it's something that she's told them? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I've not really picked that up. But anyway, so you're going to keep
Both
this theory
Kevin
going, are you?
and Debbie separately have said Elaine told me blah blah blah.
I totally missed that. Oh wow, there we go. Let's keep this rumour going.
So she resents having to raise
Debbie's secret son.
Because Debbie doesn't have a kid.
Just imagine.
And Coronation Street is generally quite good. They don't normally get tempted to give people children as much as I would think they probably could do.
Not as much as American soap opera, I imagine.
There's a lot of childless women on Coronation Street, which I think is very progressive.
I would not like that storyline. Coronation Street fans slam confusing storyline after spotting glaring error.
I don't understand. This is none of them, as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen any.
I don't know whether you're going to get this, Gemma. I don't think we particularly spotted an error with this.
What?
It was related to the Debbie and it was Wednesday's episode. I think that happened with Kevin and Abi and Debbie.
No, I've got no idea.
No, it's somebody was saying. Well, apparently a few people were saying that this text message that Kevin got that gave away Abby's affair with Carl. They said the wording of the message was too vague for Kevin to have jumped to the conclusion that Abi and Carl were having it off.
Oh no, I think I can see why they think that, but Kevin already thought that they were having an affair, and that just confirmed it.
I think so. Yeah, that's how I took it. He just needed that little nudge to get to help him join the final dots, didn't he? Because he knew from the context that Abi must have been talking about somebody at that meal. Otherwise, why would she? There was nothing going on that made him twig. It was great that Wednesday's episode with the affair all being revealed. I think some weeks I go into Corrie and I've got a vague idea about what's going to happen. And I think this week I'd seen something about Asha contemplating suicide. but I don't think anything else. I was not prepared for this bombshell on Wednesday. It was brilliant, and I'm just chuckling away at how it's all falling. The world's falling around for the nefarious pair that is Abi and Carl.
Very cruel.
I know. Sometimes I just like to see people's lives get a little bit worse. They've deserved it, which she does. Coronation Street fan favourite to return. 24 years. It's another one of these, Gemma. Get your calculator out. After debut, and Dev will be floored.
Now, it doesn't make sense this would be Amber.
No, it is not Amber,
unless I've been in a coma.
No, and Amber was just a bit less than 24 years ago, actually, I think. Who else might have joined the show? Yes, that's correct. Sunita to return 24 years after debut. Dev would be floored by that. But
because she's dead.
What's the context that would make Sunita return?
Ghost.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Some people have said, "Oh, what if Sunita comes back haunting Asha
in
her deep depth of depression?"
I don't want you to be dead like me.
I mean, I would say that that's a ridiculous theory, but the way things have gone in Coronation Street at the moment, it's not completely out of the question.
No, of course not. She could look in the mirror and see her behind her or something.
I mean,
at Halloween.
Would Shobna Gulati come back for it? I wouldn't say no. So I don't know. Maybe this is going to happen. I don't want it to happen. So do I?
The ghosts that have come back have been very recent people.
Yeah.
The longest gap was probably Seb. The Harry wasn't.
Yeah, Harry wasn't only. He'd been out of the show for 3-4 years since. Yeah. But you're right. We've seen Joel return.
But nobody's come back like, oh, it's me from 30 years ago.
Well, I take that comment and I raise you one, Richard Hillman.
True.
He came back after over 20 years off the show, and he was looking a little bit older than he was when last we saw him.
Gail's like, "How have you aged when you're dead?" And he's like, "Shut up, Gail."
He's not. He's when you go in
questions like this is why I wanted to kill you in the first place.
It's not Gemma. No. You know how you get a bit wrinkly when you've been in the bath too long. He's been in that canal since 2000 and what was it? 2003.
He was wet, wasn't he?
Exactly. So that explains the wrinkles that he'd acquired. But no, having Sunita back, I think that Shobna could pass for a
Shobna really doesn't look like she's
11,
aged.
12, 13
and
years dead Sunita.
You could just put Vaseline on the screens on the lens.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's how they do it.
So maybe we'll just push some of these clickbaits forward and say maybe they will happen. Who knows? Right, let's get on to talk.
Isn't it a shame that you could say that that's possible?
Oh, I know. Even this time last year, we'd say, well, of course they wouldn't do that. And this year, it's
how stupid of us.
Corey's probably kicking themselves for not thinking of it, to be honest.
They're phoning her up going, look.
Hello, Dr.
Gulati.
Gulati, I forgot her surname is now.
Shobs, have you looked on Liverpool Echo?
Yeah. Any ideas? Well, if she's a doctor, she's probably like doesn't need the extra cash now, does she? Although she's not that kind of doctor.
What doctor is she of?
I don't remember. Literally don't know. Okay, so we have got 4 storylines to go over this week. So a fairly low number. Going to start off with a new storyline for everybody's favourite, yours and mine, Mr. Timothy Metcalf. We're calling this storyline Once Upon a Tim, because it's harking back to the days of his youth and the, inverted commas, dark past that Tim had. We are then going to be having... I thought it was something new for the Abi storyline. I've got it. Well, Abi damned, because she is being damned from all sides this week, and thoroughly deserved,
and she's going to hell.
Yeah, she is going to go to hell, isn't she, according to Debbie Webster?
But so is Carl.
Yes, they can both go together. Asha Crashes is next, and it's going to be a tricky one talking about this one this week, because I get that it's the serious story of the week. It's the issue story.
But you've got a load of jokes, is what you're trying to say.
No, I just said I don't. I found it a little bit flat, and that's bad because I've seen lots of people saying how effective Tanisha and Jimmy and Jane's performances were, and I totally agree with that. But like I said on the short on Monday, my sympathy fatigue was it wasn't helping me to really get involved in that.
I was thinking about this earlier because I feel the same way about it, and it is one of those stories that you feel like you've got to really apologise for not liking.
Yeah, oh no, that's exactly right. I know exactly what you mean.
And it's difficult because other people may feel the same as us, and I don't want to dismiss their feelings either. But it is also a very deeply affecting storyline for anybody who's experienced this. I think the thing is that there might be young people who are Asha's age, or new viewers like Swala fans who don't have a big history in the show, who maybe didn't see Aiden's story, because to me and you, that's still very fresh, I think.
Yes, it doesn't
and
feel
it was
like...
so powerful and effective that this feels like a bit of a shadow of that rather than its own story. And so it's not hitting me in the same way, because I think that Aiden's was so well done. And it is such a huge issue that I felt like it was really given a lot of exploration for Aiden's, but Aiden, you know, is not around to tell his story, and Asha is, so there's a difference there.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that we can't see inside Asha's head very well. I think the story appeals to people who are feeling the same way as Asha is, because they don't need to see inside her head or hear her thoughts to know that deep feeling of despair that she's going through.
Yeah, and like we've said on the podcast before, we've only seen a small snippet of what's been going on in her work that would lead her to be feeling such pits of despair.
Well, it does feel like she had one really bad day and now she's got depression and she's suicidal, which
and it's clearly
feels
not that,
very
but
flippant.
That's what Corrie's showing us. She's had a bad day, and then there was a bit of a comeback from that with Naomi a few weeks later, and now she's this, and we're not seeing how's it really affecting her friends group. It's feeling very much like it's Asha and Dev and Bernie, and it's not really affecting anybody else at the moment, whereas Aiden's, it was a community-wide story.
Okay.
But there's still, there is still the chance for it to go somewhere. But I think to be really bluntly honest about it, it is just more hospital scenes, more misery. And I loved the fact that the real A stories of this week, which were the Abi storyline, even the Todd and Theo, were a bit more soapy, weren't they? A little bit more ooh, and you're not allowed to go ooh.
No,
with the sort of story that Abby's got.
Asha,
has got. Yeah,
it's not that kind of story. But it doesn't feel like it's being explored. I don't know where this is going. The same way I don't know where the Tim story is going.
No, but I'm more intrigued by the Tim story because it feels a bit fresher. But the Asha one, it's bizarre because we love all of those characters. So it's nothing to do with that. Yeah, okay, we'll talk about it. We have got a bit more of the Undertaker under the thumb story coming up towards the end, as I hinted at earlier.
Is this bit a bit quiet?
What, is it recording quietly?
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
We'll be okay. Right, would you like me to take the Tim storyline here? What's your general take
just
on
excusing
this?
myself from this because I don't know where this is going and I don't know what I'm supposed to think about this. I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to get myself in trouble.
No, we won't. We need to say something. But it's an interesting story in that it's clearly what... I've been terrible with this woman's name. Trisha, isn't it? In my head, I'm calling her Naomi and going, no, that's the horrible drunk woman. But yeah...
I would call her racist.
Yeah, the massive racist, of course.
The massive drunk racist.
So we've got a massive racist and now we've got a massive groomer?
Well... The development today gave me a bit more of a clue about where this is going because she's obviously done this to somebody else and that moves it from a territory into what she's being accused of by Brian and Sally.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have their opinions on this. The situation is awful.
Clearly what Trisha... I was going to say bloody name again. Clearly what Trisha... did to Tim.
She doesn't even look like a Naomi.
Wrong. It's not acceptable. It wasn't acceptable back then. I'm glad that Sally actually dated it today. It was 1986, I think she said.
4, I thought it was, but I wasn't.
Yeah, but so I in my head, I misaged him clearly, and I was thinking this was the 70s. Not that it would have ever been acceptable, but I kind of like the way that the story's going. That Tim's saying, honestly, it was fine, because I think lots of people in his position would be, and for him
say that.
would
even
say
now,
it's
Michael,
fine. What are you talking about? Even now, yeah.
The amount of things you see online of for some reason in America at the moment, there seems to be quite a few female teachers who are getting in trouble for being caught with their students and their male students, boys. And there's quite a lot of people going, it's same as what Tim was saying, it's so unacceptable now that I can't believe people still have that attitude of I wish, all my teachers were ugly, all that. You hear all that. You never hear that the other way around when it's a male teacher being a predator to the female students. So to say that it was unacceptable then and it's unacceptable now, I still don't think it's that unacceptable now. I think that there are groups of people that still don't see a problem with it.
Oh, yeah,
so the fact that in the 80s everyone thought it was great is not surprising.
No, not at all.
I don't know who would be surprised to hear that.
It's also, I mean, with the whole teacher thing, it's different in that the teacher has got the position of responsibility over them,
yes.
which Trisha clearly didn't. She
no,
was literally
Trisha was just
there at the shop.
Yeah, she was. This is why it's an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't... she didn't have the opportunities to groom as somebody would do who was a teacher or like a scout leader or something, because you're forced into very close proximity with those people. And to me, I feel like it's worse to be in that situation because you are seeking out power over children to molest. You know, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's betrayal of everybody's trust, and it makes the profession look bad. It's just awful. It's awful. But like this situation, also they keep flubbing her age a bit.
Oh, are they?
Well, I'm sure they said a particular age. Like, I'm sure it first started out as being 20, but then it moved into in her 20s.
Well, they said today, or Tim said to Sally, the age gap between me and Trisha is the same between me and you. I can't remember how old Sally's supposed to be. I'm going to say she must have been... Sally must be, 55 or so?
Well, how old's Tim then?
I don't know.
Oh, great.
But, I mean, if the age gap was 6 or 7 years... But yeah, no, Trisha wasn't in a position of responsibility over Tim. It doesn't sound like they're saying grooming. And I don't
want to talk about it.
No, but from what we know so far, she was nice to him at the shop. She bought him a pasty.
She gave him a pasty.
And for some people, or for Tim, if you give him a pasty and he's anybody's. But I'd probably want to know more about her. And I'm not saying that what she did was acceptable.
Well, hang on.
In the slightest.
It's okay to be friends with 14-year-old if you're 20-something, and it's okay to buy them a pasty, and it's okay to be nice to them. But if you're doing it so you can sleep with them, that's the end of it being acceptable.
Yeah. I think the other thing that makes this story quite interesting at the moment is I'm finding Trisha a really, really charismatic character. I think that the actress is absolutely brilliant. I'm really enjoying watching her. She's doing such a good job in every scene, and she's not coming across to me in any way predatory, apart from the fact that she's saying, that this whole thing with Sally. But I don't think she's trying to lure Tim away from Sally.
Naive.
I know, I'm very naive about many things. Do you think that she's trying to lure Tim away from Sally?
She knows he's married and she will not leave him alone.
I think that she's just one of these ladies who's like, I don't think she's trying to get Tim away from Sally. I think she's saying, well, whatever.
Okay, the reason I'm
have
saying,
a drink, it's fine.
In real life, it would be fine if you not that this happened, but if you had a girlfriend that you'd slept with and whatever, and then if she turned up and went, I want to drink or whatever, I'd be like, well, I don't care, do what you want. But this is a soap, right? So you know that something's happening. Yeah. She's not just turned up to go, right. Oh, I remember you like pasties. I've bought you a pasty for old times. Like, she's obviously going to do something to him because she wouldn't be in the show otherwise.
I think you're right because of that.
But then why she's just nice.
I'm still really enjoying her. Okay, if I put it as, if there wasn't this dark thing in her past, if she hadn't done this very naughty thing, to an illegal act to Tim, young little Timmy, then I think that she would be the sort of character that I would be interested in seeing a bit more of. She reminds me quite of Bev Unwin. Do you get that?
Yep.
Like, good time girl, kind of just very voluptuous and hands-on with men, and she's very I think that she's a charismatic character, but it was kind of left in an interesting way at the end of today's episode, where it's like, well, has she gone? Is she going to come back? But I'm really intrigued by this, about where it's going to go, and I felt it was very refreshing this week to have a story that's like, this is a new story, because a lot of this year has felt like this is the same story that's been dragging on, or this is the same story that's taken a bit of a turn. The Abi and Carl affair has been going on and on and on and on, and there's been different forks in the road, but it's been that story. Same with the Todd and Theo story, same with some of the others, but this felt very much on Monday like, we're starting a new story now that's not linked to anything else that's happened. And I was like, oh, okay, it's about time.
It is quite clever that a lot of these stories have been brewing and developing, and they kind of evolve into something else. But you're right, it does feel sometimes like I've been watching this show with the same stories in it for a year.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so once upon a Tim then, are you sitting comfortably? Sally starts the episode over at number 13, helping Kevin out with a bit of tidying, and I always love it when they have Sally and Kevin scenes together, because those two have got so much history. He's talking a bit about the breakup and how he hasn't told Rosie and Sophie about it yet. She's just kind of sympathising with him about that. I don't know. I didn't know whether to put this in this story or the Abi one. Maybe it's more about the Abi story, because he's kind of blaming himself, isn't he, and saying, "Oh, if I hadn't messed things up for our marriage and gone off with Natalie, then none of this would have happened." But Sally's saying, "Well, I'm glad you and Tim are pals." Speaking of Tim, and this is where it properly starts off, he's picking up a fare. Where else but Freshco's? And it's this lady in her 50s, 60s, I guess.
I don't know. What's the actress's name? Do you know?
No, I've not got a clue.
It's interesting to me that she has white hair.
Oh, why?
Because I think it makes her look older.
Like a kindly old woman.
And she's the same age as Sally. She must be, if the age difference is the same.
Yes.
And Sally obviously has blonde hair. And lots of people start dyeing their hair very young. So it really isn't an indication of age that much. But I do think it's a deliberate choice to have an actress who looks like she's older. And I don't like stereotyping people or pointing this stuff out, because it's, the actress, probably this is her real hair. But I think we all have to acknowledge the fact that having hair that colour makes you look older. Rightly or wrongly, whatever.
So do you think that makes her look more innocent?
No, I think it makes it look more like there could... Why? How does Tim know this lady? How could they have dated? She looks significantly older than him.
Well, he's not exactly rocking a full-on Barnett himself, is he?
No, I know. This is why, men, if you're starting to lose your hair and you're worrying about being bald, just remember Patrick Stewart looked the same age for about 50 years.
Yeah.
You escape the aging that white hair brings you.
Speaking of Tim's appearance, and I know we don't usually comment on this, but it seems like we're in a roll with it, and they did bring it up in the episode. That mark on Tim's head this week. Steve said something about they were or was it Tim said, "That's the last time I played cricket in the office."
Okay.
So it sounds like he had a cricket ball to the head, I think, in canon, but I don't know what it is.
Well, it was distracting to me because it wasn't in continuity, was it? Because It started off faded and then it got really bad. Poor guy.
Yeah. Well, I hope that Joe.
I'm sure it's fine. We probably just opened a cupboard on his head or something.
That's what he told the police.
No.
I think that Sally is secretly abusing Tim behind closed doors.
I think Theo's practicing.
Do you reckon?
Well, shouldn't make jokes.
Okay. So
what did Christina say? Well, that's in very poor taste, didn't she?
About what?
About Theo made a comment about having dementia like the lady in the hotel.
Yes.
And I'm like, do not ever listen to our podcast, Christina, because it is in very poor taste.
That's what we're mostly made up of anyway. So Tim recognises this woman, Trisha from the shop. It's funny.
Well, he recognises her first, because she's going,
it's funny.
Tim Metcalf.
It's funny how you would recognise somebody that you haven't seen for, how long must it be? Like 40 years maybe?
I recognise people all the time. I don't know where the hell I know them from.
Yeah.
But I think I probably would remember somebody I'd slept.
Maybe, I suppose so. Especially if it's Tim, because this is about Tim losing his virginity. So and he's kind of held her as this. He's kind of put her on a pedestal in his hall of "I'm a great man, look at me." I suppose he probably.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there in the cab office on his own one day, just kind of sits back and thinks about her sometimes, because he's still very proud of himself, isn't he?
How much of that early experience has informed his idea of his own masculinity, and that's why he's so resistant to even examining it, because if he's not the man he thought he was, then who is he? Have a real crisis here, kind of like Gary had when a woman beat him up and then he suddenly became a violent monster. That seems to have stopped for the time being. Maybe Tim and Gary can start a problematic masculinity club.
Maybe they could. Because I don't know where this is going. I found it quite interesting this week how Tim was so openly discussing with Sally, but hadn't mentioned it before, about who he lost his virginity to. Because it's one of these things that, like, do couples talk about it? Do they not? Do they talk?
We don't know. Sorry, we don't know.
Gemma and
we don't need to talk about it, but we don't know what.
Yeah, is it one of these things that's just taboo in relationships? We don't talk about who we first slept with, or we don't talk about past girlfriends and boyfriends.
I only know this from films, but like, sometimes there is a conversation, and the only reason I know this is because usually I'm watching a horror movie and then they mention somebody and they turn out to be a secret serial killer or stalker, or they're literally outside the window watching them as they're talking about it and about to get murdered. So I would avoid talking about it at all costs if I was.
I would at least have thought that maybe if Tim was so proud of his conquest, well, it was known.
Well, no, that's what he's framing it
Trisha's
as.
conquest, I suppose. Yeah, he's framing it as this.
Whatever we're saying, we're
saying it through Tim's voice. Yeah. I would have thought that it probably would have come up in his chats with Steve at some point.
Yeah, with Steve. Not with Sally. I think he would have kept his mouth shut to Sally about it.
I guess so. But because they've got such a very open sex life, they're a very highly sexed couple, aren't they? Would that made it more likely that they would have talked about?
I don't think Pillow Talk includes I remember when I was 14.
I don't know. But anyway, I found it all very interesting. As I did, one of the highlights on Monday's episode, which I didn't particularly enjoy as a whole Mondays, was all the lads in the pub, because you don't get this very often, did you?
They were moaning about stuff. They were
mostly talking about nothing. Who was it? Tim, Tyrone, Kirk was there, Kevin, Steve, and they were talking about how AI is going to be taken over, and Kevin's like, I'm fed up with AI. Of course,
somebody said that they didn't, on our Twitter, I didn't like the preaching.
Was there preaching? Was it preachy?
I think that they thought that the show was using Kevin to tell us that AI is wrong.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just Kevin having a grump about the latest.
It's really funny because I remember
Kev's style.
When I was a kid, when I was like 10, my nan and granddad had to get a new stove, and they lived in this council house, and it didn't even have a proper kitchen. Actually, it was just it wasn't a proper kitchen because it was such an old council house, and so they got this new stove, and my nan would not ever stop moaning about the computer in it, and she kept moaning and saying it's computerized, it's going to break, I don't want it, it's all these computers all the time, and literally it was a digital clock. And that was the computer that she didn't like.
If only she could see what things have become today.
She'd hate it. She hated everything.
I wonder what Kevin thinks about all the computers in cars now and how problematic that makes his job.
Well, they're all going to end up... we're all going to end up losing our jobs to this. It's just a question of whether new jobs will exist. But this is what I was saying before about, what peasants moaning about threshing machines. At a certain point, you've got to accept it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't stop it by moaning about it, and you certainly can't stop it by attacking people that use that technology. It's companies that you need to... It's the same as the pollution and stuff.
Direct
you
your
can
complaints to
recycle
Elon
whatever
Musk.
you want, but when... there's a factory down the road just pouring smoke out and melting plastic like it's a hobby. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. They were. Anyway, I really appreciated those scenes because it was lovely male bonding scenes.
I thought you said you didn't like it a second ago.
No, I didn't like the episode as a whole, but I enjoyed those scenes because it really was just a guys chatting guys stuff, and they were talking about.
I don't think men generally just complain about AI.
They were talking about flying cars. Was it Tyrone who sang, I thought we'd have flying cars by now? And
I was told we'd have flying cars.
I think all of us, we millennials here are feeling a bit shortchanged because this was the promise of the 1990s that we would at least by this point have a flying car. And we don't even have an electric car. I don't even have a screen in my car at the moment.
No. They told me when I was a kid that we would have flying cars and robots by the time I was 18.
We got a robot vacuum cleaner. Is that just not quite what you pictured?
It's not... Do you know what I hate? Okay, right, this is the problem. This is turning into the session that they had. Do you know what I hate? Saying stupid things, and I used this word before on the podcast, and we're allowed to now because it's explicit. Stupid wanky things like going, the doorbell's not connected to the internet. My vacuum cleaner's not got any Wi-Fi signal. I just feel like such an idiot.
First world problems.
And this is why I will never buy one of those Wi-Fi fridges. I remember they brought...
You say that now.
No, I don't. I'm not interested. And I remember they brought us... I bought a tumble dryer, and I just got it from the local shop, And so I didn't really know anything about it. I just wanted it to be this, this and this. So that's the one I had. Brought it round. And it was Wi-Fi, connected to the Wi-Fi. And now whenever I use it, it sends me a message going, don't forget to empty my filter. No! I'll empty it when I want.
What's the problem? It's convenient.
Don't tell me what to do.
It's when they start charging subscription fees for some of the basic services.
Well,
that
the doorbell's got a subscription.
I know it does. It's
Don't
terrible.
pay for it, just spy on people's life.
Anyway, that's our rants and bants over with Michael and Jen with the cranks. So Trisha comes into the pub and is she
like
trying something, or is this
Abba.
just what she wears? Abba, she looking like Abba.
Oh, Abba, I love you.
No, Abba.
That's what he said.
Yes.
She's got a trouser suit, it's metallic. And one direction she looked like she was wearing gold, and the other direction she looked like she was wearing silver.
Oh, don't start that again.
Was it blue and white?
Yeah. But was she doing it to tempt Tim
was.
away, or is that just what she happened to throw on?
Of course she was. But honestly... Okay, I'm not going to say it.
Tim's talk at the moment. Nothing's come out about who she is. We've talked about it a lot already. But the guys are kind of ribbing Tim about saying, "Oh, it looks like she's got the glad eye for you." And Tim says, "Well, I did know her back in the past. She was a bit of a cracker 40 years ago, to be honest." And he's kind of enjoying getting his ego stroked by this woman at the bar. And at the end of the evening, he says, "Look, it's lovely seeing you again." And she gives him a peck on the cheek before heading off. Tim goes back to the guys and says, "Yeah, we had a bit of a thing together when we were younger." And it's not revealed straight away. It's kind of drip fed into the week, isn't it? About just how long
young.
Ago and just how young it was.
Does Tim wear a wedding ring?
I would imagine so. Why?
Well, because she would know by looking at his hand that he's not available for a peck on the cheek.
Well, Kevin at this point says to Tim, "You watch yourself. You're flirting with a woman when you've got a wife back at home." Kevin's obviously knows exactly what it's like at the moment to take his missus for granted. And we had that great scene on Friday where he's saying as much to, I can't remember if it was Glenda or Debbie.
Don't take your wife for granted.
I won't, darling, I promise.
Too late.
And then Tim's like, no, it's fine. I still love Sally. And Tim eventually comes home to a romantic evening meal from Sally because it's their wedding anniversary, isn't it? I think we haven't mentioned that so far. That did make it pretty bad.
Earlier on in the day, Sally told him specifically, come back at 6 because you're having a fancy anniversary dinner. And then, was it Dev who called everybody?
Who was rallying them to G up Kevin? I don't remember.
Well, Sally, he said, "Oh, I've got to go to the pub to cheer." Was it Kevin? I can't remember who needed cheering up.
I think, it was Kevin.
So he went for that purpose specifically.
Yeah.
But then he came home far too late.
He could have at least texted Sally. He is taking her for granted.
This is awful.
He is being fairly naive about it. But I'd say everything he's done so far this week is very much in character.
But can I just point out?
Tim's a git?
No, Tim is an idiot. But maybe this is going to shock people, because I'm not taking Sally's side necessarily here.
Oh.
I have learned from my very, very late, I was going to say tardy, but I don't think that's a word we use very much here. Very late friends who often will not turn up when they're supposed to for meals, not to bother cooking things to be ready at the time you tell people that dinner's
especially if you're making steak, because that doesn't take too long to fry up, does it? Start it when he's got home, Sally. Just a few cooking tips for you there from me.
I never cook a meal for somebody if they're not there. Because you're going to end up like this.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Tim ends up sleeping on the sofa that evening because she is rightfully peed off.
Well, she's plated it up. It's there. She's had starters. She's had the main. She's eaten the pudding when he comes in. And she's got this rock hard steak probably.
Yeah.
And he says he's going to heat it in the microwave. I tell you what, if he tried to heat up a steak I'd made for him in the microwave, he'd be wearing it. He could eat it in the hot tub, warm it up that way.
Was that like a sous vide?
Yeah,
Can you
sous
do that
vide
to
yourself.
a steak? It's kind of funny how the Metcalfs, it looked like they were starting a story earlier this year with Joni and Shanice and Brody, but that's been really sidelined this week.
It's like they don't exist anymore.
This week, those kids and the associated problems might as well not have existed.
I know. I don't even remember. Peculiar. Literally haven't seen that little girl since her sister went.
I don't know whether we have. I've seen them all on Instagram.
I don't remember what their names are.
Shoni and...
I don't need to know.
Joni
And I've seen Brony around, but he's not been in their house, has he?
Oh, that reminds me. Where's my phone? Because that's... Brony is the name of the actor, is the surname of the actor who plays D.I. Costello this week. And he's followed us on Instagram this week, or as I told you, he's lurking on us on Instagram this week. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, let me just find what's his name.
He needs to make that his
Brony.
His what's it called? Phone ringtone.
Yeah, Dayon Brony is his name. So thanks very much, Dayon, for lurking on us on Instagram.
Maybe he thinks we talk about him all the time because I keep calling Brody Brony.
Maybe. Anyway, so that's the end of Monday's episode.
I tell you what,
good stuff.
Brody does have brony hair, doesn't he?
Brody does. Yeah, totally.
He's got beautiful hair,
lovely
like a horse.
Mane. Yeah. So Wednesday turns around and then Trisha shows up at the cab office with a pasty for Tim and he's dead chuffed with this. She is, I guess, turning up quite a lot.
Interesting, Michael. I'm starting to wonder if there are any women in your life who you've completely not realised are trying to flirt with you.
Have I missed some chances here?
I think you might have done.
Well, I do work in a female-dominated profession, don't I? Although not this year. We're all men. In my school this year, 5 out of 6 of us are men. Anyway,
what great role models you're being for the young men we really in your school.
We're doing a great job. So I tell them all about Coronation Street and Boy Scouts. I'm giving them all the things that a young boy needs to know.
They do talk about how it is true. It's a problem in especially in primary schools that boys don't really have good male role models because there aren't very many male teachers. And you're there going like, football's boring.
Cars? What colour is it?
I don't know any car brands.
I was doing some guided reading with my children yesterday, and I was saying to the group,
you're saying to them, right, this is Mel C's autobiography. Everyone, sit down.
No, I was saying, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I'm going away somewhere. I wonder where I'm going. And one of the children immediately said, "Is it something to do with Coronation Street?" And I was like, "Yes, it is." Actually.
That's so sad. You're supposed to be trying to bribe them into not putting them off Coronation Street. You're like, what's the reverse of an influencer? You're a de-influencer.
Put her off her.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian turns up at the next scene, and I've quite enjoyed Brian's part of the story because, bless him, he hasn't got many other people to bond with much on the street, has he? Brian is a character that turns up in other people's storylines, or he's sometimes just there, just sitting with Ken or Mary, and you know, I'm not Mary's biggest fan, but I think that as a hanger-oner on this story, I thought that Brian's role was quite interesting, and I thought that Peter Gunn, he does do the serious stuff very well, and that's what this was this week.
It's interesting too that his first encounter with Trisha, they bonded really well.
Yeah, because he's there and in the cab office with Tim and Trisha, and Tim's a bit put out because he can't share in Brian and Trisha's joking about the Dead Poet Society, can he? So Brian's like, "Oh, this is a very intelligent, well-read woman. I'm going to have a bit more of a chat with her."
It's a movie with Robin Williams.
It's all story, isn't it? I'll just show myself up there.
Well, sure. It's from the movie. I've never watched it because it's got the word poets in it. It sounds terrible.
Daniel's favourite film, clearly. Anyway.
Yeah, he probably watches and go, "Oh, I wish I was a dead poet. People might take me seriously."
One day, Daniel, one day. Aspire to that.
One day we could all be dead poets.
Tim heads out to check out a wonky window wiper out on one of the cars, and this is when Brian and Trisha get talking together and say, tell me more a little bit about your history with Tim. And she's like, "Oh, well, you know, I was Tim's first crush when he was a kid. I broke his heart, bless him." And again, we don't get much further. I'm kind of a bit disappointed that I think I'd seen a spoiler about, you know, new dark storyline for Tim, sexual abuse storyline, and from that I was like, "Oh God, that sounds miserable." So I was a bit disappointed that when she was saying this,
I knew
what it was leading to. Yeah, but then Sally shows up and as she's introduced, and she kind of smugly watches on as Tim squirms because she's like, because Tim kind of realizes at this point, yeah, maybe I've gone a bit far here, and I've neglected Sally for this. And Sally's like, "I'm gonna tell you a new one. I'm gonna give you a right ear bending when we get home."
A lot of he's only worried because she's mad. He's not worried because she's upset about a particular thing and he knows he's done something wrong. He's just, oh no, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Not thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done this. He's thinking, oh great, now I've got caught.
But I do love how Sally will have him on the hook. I can't remember when she's done it before, but quite often when she catches him out on something, she'll play along with it, won't she?
Yeah.
Giving him these knowing looks, and Tim just there sweating cobs because he knows that as soon as the two of them are there together, she's going to lay into him.
She's abusing him.
Yes, she in a way maybe. No, so
all relationships are abuse.
That's what we've learned.
They're all abusive.
Yeah. So she says once she's gone, oh, so this is the floozy that you were spending last night with when you were here, when you were supposed to be back at home with our anniversary then. Very interesting.
She'd be even more upset if she knew what she was wearing.
I know.
Don't wear that just down the pub normally, do you?
You do not. I certainly don't anyway. I don't know about anyone else.
Well, no, because you've got to iron it first.
So Brian's with Tim later, and Brian's learning a little bit more about the story, and then this is when it comes out that Tim was 14 when he and Trisha got together. Every time I say this name, I'm going to have to pause. Tim was like, oh yeah, we had a couple of bunk ups. That was it. It was nothing.
See,
but tell you what, I was cock of the walk.
Yeah. This is when he says I was 14 and she was 20. Then later it becomes in her 20s.
I don't know whether that was my notes or whether it was a script
sure
or whether he just doesn't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't think that he would have known.
I don't think it's customary really to be asking.
No. Like,
don't ask a woman her age.
Can I see your ID, please? No. I think he was...
Well, he's seen it.
He, as a teenage boy, as a horny teenage boy, he didn't care. He just thought that this was some experienced woman that was showing an interest in him, didn't he?
How many in the 80s and 90s, how many movies were there about exactly this topic? Did nobody watch Big with Tom Hanks? That was literally a story about a child having sex with a woman because he's a child, then he has a wish and he ends up with a man's body.
Did they go to bed?
I'm pretty sure they do.
I don't remember that. Tom Hanks. How could you?
But that was like, and everyone was like, yeah.
There's definitely I can picture like 80s stories, 80s films where there's these teenage boys perving over a woman in the shop. So
there was always a scene with a boy with binoculars looking at his neighbour through a window as she's for some reason changing with the lights on and the curtains open. Not to victim blame.
Anyway, Brian asked him, like, what are you going to tell Sally about this? Maybe you need to start apologising for missing out on your anniversary last night. And Tim says, oh, look, there's nothing, it's fine. And Trisha, she's just an ex. Nothing, didn't mean anything. He kind of goes back and forth between it doesn't mean anything and I was really proud of this, wasn't it?
Well, I think it's both connected.
I think, yeah. He was very proud of it, but there was no long-term emotional connection there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't wanting to go off with her. He was just up for a bunk up. And he kind of, as you pointed out, that he establishes that Trisha knew how old he was by the lines where he's saying that she refused to sell me alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Brian's like, not only were you 14, but she knew.
So Brian's incredibly uncomfortable about this. And I think the fact that they've got him as an ex-school teacher being in this role in the story is a particularly good pick as well. Safeguarding. Yeah, exactly that. And Tim's like, no, it's fine, don't worry about it. Brian says, look, you were clearly groomed. And he's like, no, I wasn't. Things were different back then. Again, Tim's attitude here, I'm glad that Tim didn't suddenly go, oh my gosh, yes, you're right. And I don't know where this storyline is going, but in a way I'm thinking I don't want it to lead to Tim being all depressed or anything about it.
I really don't know what would, in real life, what would happen if you were Tim. I don't know. No. I don't know what the point of the story is yet.
No, I don't know.
Because
I think it feels like it's launching into something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that Tim's character is still saying, honestly,
this is a very Tim thing to do. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with what we did, and if you don't agree, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. So he's in speed dial later when Trisha walks in. I think she's tracking him, and he's happy to see her. And she says, look, let's have a proper drink sometime. He's like, okay, maybe not round here. In town, maybe. Yeah, he just wants to be mates, but he knows that Sally... I don't think he's looking to have to reconnect or reignite things here. He just doesn't want... He's not... Do you think that he's trying to get off with...
He knows well enough to have the drink not around the area for a reason.
If
it was that innocent, he wouldn't think twice about going, down the Rovers.
No, because I think he doesn't want to worry Sally, or rather, exactly. I don't think he doesn't want to get it in the neck from Sally when all he wants is a drink.
Yeah.
He is completely.
Why do it then?
He is completely committed to Sally. You can tell that he adores her.
Why upset her then by having a drink if you don't care about it?
Because in his eyes, he just wants to, somebody from the past that he wants to have a catch up with. But how, I suppose you might say, well, how friendly were they? Because you don't generally, as a 14-year-old, they probably didn't have that much in common with the girl from the shop. They probably didn't talk much.
The fact he's hiding it from Sally, and this is kind of interesting because it's similar to what happened with Todd and Theo, because Todd's like sneaking around with Billy because that's his friend, and he knows that Theo doesn't approve, but in that situation it's abuse. But here, because it's Sally and Tim, and Sally's a woman, and she's the one that's controlling Tim, it's not abusive, it's just funny. Do you see what I mean? Like, I'm kind of confused here, because I don't know what I would think if I was in this situation. I'd hope I wouldn't be...
What, if you were Sally?
Yeah.
I would hope that you would trust me enough to know that I'm just going for an apple ties with her.
If I said to you, please don't, I would expect you not to.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But you shouldn't have to say don't do it, because you should trust the person. But that trusting the person is different from trusting the intentions of the other person.
I mean, I suppose we've seen so little of Sally and Tim recently. One might say, has there been anything else going on between their relationship? Have they not
we need a sentence where they go, our marriage has been on the rocks.
Yeah, exactly that.
For the last year.
That's usually how Corrie does it, and they didn't even put anything like that in this time.
No, they could have done.
I think we're supposed to believe that everything's been hunky-dory as much as it usually is between them.
They had a united front for Shoni and Brony, so they must be...
Yeah. Fine. Yeah, they're a really solid couple, and as convinced as I am that Carla and Lisa have got nothing to worry about in the long term for their romantic future, I do not think that this is going to split up Sally and Tim, because of all the couples, every single couple that's currently going on Coronation Street, I would say that Sally and Tim are the most secure, most safe, most long term, most beloved, and Corrie would not split them up. Unless they want to do a Brian Park, who can come in and split up the most beloved couple. I think they're totally solid, and they would be absolutely ludicrous to, for the sake of one story, break up this couple that kind of everybody likes, don't you think? Don't you think? Oh, do you know anything?
No, I don't know anything. Oh, okay. I'm just saying not everyone likes Tim.
No, I know. Not everybody likes Tim.
Loads of people hate Tim.
I'm going to say most people like Tim.
No, everyone hates Tim. I think everyone's pretending, because it's like...
No, you're in denial.
You can't be, Father Christmas is a bit weird, isn't it? Nobody would ever say that.
I would say...
But I think Tim and Father Christmas suspicious.
If you were to do a poll...
Possibly the same person.
If you were to do a poll where you could vote as many times as you want, and it was tick the couples that you like... I think Sally and Tim, you've got to admit
I know,
this.
But they're
Sally and Tim
boring.
will get the most votes, because even Lisa and Carla wouldn't, because they've obviously got their big, strong following, but you've also got a good number of people that aren't into Lisa and Carla. But I think generally, Sally and Tim are a popular couple. You can't deny this. Right, Friday, so Sally...
I'm not interested in them at all, and it's...
That's funny.
I thought, I'm just not interested in them at all. It's not because I don't like Tim, because half of that is a joke. But I just find them very uninspiring, because pretty much 80% of their story for a long time was, let's go shag because there's a wedding.
Yeah, I love
which I didn't find that funny.
I think that they've got a really solid foundation of a relationship, though. I love them.
But
I think I'm not alone.
From a perspective of Coronation Street really should be investing more in couples and have proper long-term couples, and not just shacking up people for a year or 5. I think it's important to keep Sally and Tim together.
Yes. Yeah, and
so
I would have said
from that perspective.
We said the same about Ed and Aggie, didn't we? Before Lorna had to leave the show.
Look what happens there.
There was. I really do not think they would have ever split those up, because they had this off-screen long-term history together. The characters had lots of chemistry, and I think lots of people, Ed's not the most popular of characters, bless him, but I think everybody was in agreement that
Aggie was very popular.
Aggie was popular, and Ed and Aggie were a solid, believable stable,
Believable.
traditional couple.
Yeah, they really did feel like they had been married their whole lives.
Yeah, yeah. Because you got on EastEnders, you got what's his face and Thingy, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know, Yolanda, is that her name? And the guy who used to be off the Thin Blue Line. Those two the older couple.
Rowan Atkinson.
What? No, not him. The one who played.
Not Officer Goody.
You know, no, not him either.
Was it Rich?
James Dreyfus.
James Dreyfus.
No, not him. The other one.
I'll tell you what, though, wouldn't he?
What was his
Pep
name?
things up.
Anyway, like they've got. I feel.
How's Elaine and Colin Salmon doing these days? All right.
I feel that EastEnders has got more stable long-term couples, and this was one of them, and it's an older couple, and that's something that Coronation
Cindy
Street...
Beale.
No, you know
Peter Beale.
You do know who I'm talking about.
No, I've got literally no idea who you're talking about.
You know the black character from the Thin Blue Line.
Oh, do you mean the ones that won Best Partnership?
Yes, exactly. They're a popular partnership, is the point I'm trying to make. And Corrie would do well to have more... I didn't know her name was
Yolanda.
I don't think I'm making this up. I don't know what the man's character name is, which is terrible, because he got his Lifetime Achievement.
Yeah, he did.
He's brilliant.
Sorry how ignorant we are.
Very ignorant.
I usually try to avoid... Yeah, I know.
It's alright, Corrie's not crossing over with them EastEnders. I don't need to know.
Woe betide us if that ever were to happen.
Friday... Tim's well, on the end of Wednesday's episode, Tim's had this text from Trisha, hasn't she? She's saying, I'm looking forward to our
Why did he give her his number?
Everybody,
because she's perfectly capable of stalking him and finding out where he is.
For that, all you have to do is accept that in Weatherfield, every time you walk past somebody, your numbers just automatically transfer to your phone. It's kind of like Street Pass on the DS. Yeah. Everybody has each other's number once they've had one conversation together.
But everybody looks like a little egg.
Yeah, nobody's got each other's photo on the screen.
And if they do, it's a headshot.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
provided by their agent.
Sally's starting to get a little bit suspicious, isn't she? Because Tim's like, "Oh, it's nothing. We're not talking about anything.
We're not having a secret affair or
anything, are we?" And then he kind of hurries out.
What do you mean secret affair?
So,
well, he gets annoyed with her.
Yeah.
See, again, why?
Because he fears her wrath, and he thinks it's innocent. I really don't think he's got any designs on spending the night with Trisha. I really don't.
Let's find out.
We will find out, won't we? So Trisha comes into the cafe and Brian's very curt with her because he says, "Look, you were grooming him. You abused him. Tim's pretty much told me all the details." And Trisha says, "Tim, have you told them that I've been abusing you?" No.
Yeah, Tim walks in and she's like completely offended by this, going, "What?"
But it's all coming from Brian.
Yeah.
Rightly so, I think. So Trisha tells... and then Sally... Does Sally come in at that point? And
no, it's just Trisha, Tim and Brian. And she says it was all consensual. And she's really upset and leaves.
Yeah. Then Tim pretty knocked off at Brian, who says, "Look, you need to tell Sally about what happened. Stop deluding yourself and face the fact she abused you."
See, this is interesting because when Sally finds later on this message somebody's left, it does change everything because it's not really clear whether Trisha knows that she abused him.
Yes, yeah. We haven't really mentioned that, have we? Did Trisha know that she was... Does she think that she was abusing him? Does she think, "Oh, this is a bit illegal, but everybody's doing it"? No, that doesn't excuse her.
Hang on, I don't know that it was illegal. I don't know. I saw somebody make a comment, and I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I don't... They said that there was no age of consent for men.
I can't believe that's the case. In 1986... I think she knew that it was a bit naughty what she was doing. She must have known that it was illegal, but I think that she probably would have said, "Oh, what harm is it? Everybody does it. It's one of those things." Equally, she could be a massive predator because, Sally finds out that there's something gone on in her past later, doesn't she, with that Facebook message. But anyway, Tim tells Sally about what happened, and she's very concerned about it, saying, "Tim, you were 14. And it's the same similar sort of conversation that he was having with Brian. And he says, "Look, don't, it's fine."
Okay, right, so just to be clear here, I've just looked this up. And so, in 1275, the age of consent was 12.
1275, okay.
And then in 1875, it was 13. And then in 1885, it was 16. And then in 1950, it was 17. but then it went back down again in 2008. And it's regardless of your sexual orientation or gender, because there was something for gay men that set it at 21.
Yeah. It was clearly
and
illegal.
Now
what was going
it's all
on.
16 in this country. I think some people from different countries might be surprised. It seems to be quite low. I know in some parts of America it's much higher than that. But equally, you can marry children in certain states of America, so I don't think we can start throwing things at each other over that.
Is it in Germany that it's even lower? I'm sure that there are some, there are some countries that are well developed where there's a lower age of consent as well, but maybe it's just between people of their own age. I don't know. And you would get this. I totally think that it's wrong what happened, but you would, if you were to show this in some countries where the law is something else, I'd say, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, which is why, again, I think it's a really interesting topic that they've picked here.
It says here that in each UK nation, if an individual is to have sex with someone 15 or less, they may be charged with a criminal offence. Similarly, the Sexual Offences Act of 2000 prohibits someone in a position of trust from performing sexual acts with someone who cannot consent, which includes minors and very vulnerable people. So I think that's what we were saying earlier about being in a position of authority over somebody makes it even more repulsive.
Well, Sally is just as horrified about this, and Tim's just telling her, honestly, no, it was fine, don't worry about it.
I'm surprised he's not going, I was 14 and 11 months.
I was 14 and a half. This is what she later on, because she's found this Facebook message online. She's been doing a bit of stalking, hasn't she? And somebody 10 years ago, was it, wrote a comment on Trisha's Facebook saying, after what you did, you should be in prison, not necking cocktails on a cruise. And Sally takes that to mean she's been grooming other people. And Tim says, literally, this could be anything. But
she could have run over a cat.
Yeah. Although that would be pretty terrible as well in my book.
You don't get put in prison for that, though.
I know you don't.
Apparently you're allowed to run cats over.
And Tim says, look, this was 1986, not 1486. I don't know whether how that matches up with the dates that you were just saying there. But anyway, Tim says...
It's not 1885.
This was a life experience for me. Don't make it into something shameful.
It's not like you
I'm not traumatised.
Tim.
Says, I'm not traumatised. Seriously, Sal, just leave it. And then he at the end of the episode, he's in the pub with Trisha and saying, it's been really lovely catching up with you. I think after he's had a chat with Kevin, because Kevin's having a mope in speed dial later, isn't he?
And he says, look, don't take your wife for granted.
And Tim, I think that kind of clicks for Tim, because he's seeing just how miserable Kevin is. And I think he's had a little bit of one of those little mini 2 amp light bulbs go off in his head and goes, okay, maybe
the hamster's begun to run.
Yeah, maybe I need to
because
call it a day with this.
Literally, Kevin's like, I lost Sally, and you could do the same if you're not careful.
Yeah, for sure. So Tim goes to Trisha in the pub and says, look, we need to call this off. I don't want Sally thinking we're having an affair. And I love the line that she said, too many people get groomed by old... No, what did she say? Burnt, sorry. Not groomed. Too many people get burnt by old flames, eh? And she walks off, and that's kind of the end of that. And Tim's just kind of left looking pensive in the pub, thinking, well, there we go. There's a bit of a blast from the past. That's that chapter of my life closed. But clearly it's not. I'm really... I've got no idea where this is going, and I'm really curious to find out what's going to happen next. I just don't want it to be Tim sinking into a depression about it or anything like that.
I don't know what's going to happen. I think that Sally was a bit bonkers, because on that comment where somebody wrote that to Trisha that she should be in prison, there were 12 replies to that comment, and she didn't expand.
Didn't see what they all were. Well, maybe that will come.
The next step, surely, is Sally contacting that woman and go, what do you know about Trisha?
Yeah, it's either that or Sally or Brian are going to report Trisha to the police, aren't they?
Yeah.
A crime was committed.
It was a crime, and there's no statute of limitations. That's the total soapy thing to do, and they can't resist a trip to the police station. So I think that I'm gonna say Jess, or maybe Kit, or possibly even Lisa might be paying Trisha a little visit, or finding her in the cafe because Trisha doesn't have a house set. No, that's true. Yeah. I mean, Tim's not denying this happened at all.
No.
And she is not denied it happened. So what would...
I don't know what... Yeah, would she deny it if the police asked her about it? Would she be canny enough to say he's making it up?
And then I can imagine her going to Tim, look, it's going to ruin my life. I don't know what your meddling friends are doing, trying to... You were fine with it. I was fine with it. Can you please tell them it never happened? Because otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. But what would actually be the punishment?
Well, exactly. Would she get a slap on the wrist and say, look, it's happened a long time, it was wrong, let's not go any further with it? Or would she have the book thrown at her?
The way people are, the police would be like, oh, lucky Tim. That's how people are even now. There's still people now who would think it was funny. I can see Kit having that reaction. Maybe. Whereas Lisa would be a lot more... Oh, no. Well, she doesn't like men, so... Yes. Dirty, stinky men. But I can see why. They've from a story that I saw one headline of a week ago and thought, dark sexual abuse plot for Tim, that doesn't sound interesting in the slightest. I'm actually really, really glad that they've done this, and I hope that it doesn't let me down with where it goes. So yeah, good stuff. Shall we oh no, just before I want to move on, I do want to say, and I'm sorry to nitpick, and I know that I do get called out on my nitpicking on the scripting sometimes. I'm just glad people listen enough to nitpick. That line that Sally said regarding Trisha on Wednesday's episode, was it? If she was chocolate, she'd eat herself. Who didn't pick that up? Because that was the exact line that... Was it Glenda used about Christina? I think it was... last week, or was it Jenny? I can't remember. But that line has appeared in the script in 2 consecutive weeks, or maybe within a fortnight, and somebody should have picked that out and edited, because... Oh, no. Some of us people who listen very carefully... pick these things out. Sorry, I've written this. I was the only note I've written for this, and I just want to get it off my chest. Well, let me tell you, I'm in the next storyline before you get yourself. Okay, let's. Well, I'll be damned. What's been going on with the Websters this week? What is going on is a good question. Thanks. I loved Wednesday's. This only started Wednesday, didn't it? Wednesday's episode, which was. Hey, do you remember how the Platts always take over the bistro for their family get-togethers? Well, let's have somebody different. Yeah, we had a good old Webster Bailey joining up. And United through Ronnie and Debbie. For some reason, I don't think I had, put 2 and 2 together and realised that Carl having an affair, a bit on the side with James, was kind of a whole family thing as well. I didn't see the connection, even though this episode made it patently obvious. Together. Yeah. So it was Ronnie's birthday. Happy Ronniversary. And we also got... Me, Abi, Ronnie... Yes! Well, this was the thing. This was the biggest revelation this week, wasn't it? We finally got a date of birth for Abi. She's been on the show since 2017. We've had no idea how old she was supposed to be. We didn't know when her birthday was. It's taken so long. Some characters, it's so funny. They have a birthday, within the first months of being on the show, and then you got these. Some people have too. Never mentioned. It kind of makes me want to go back to all of the... what's Abi's birthday? 29th of October. It makes me want to go back to all the 29th of September's, thank you, and see when it is. But yeah, so it was mentioned on Wednesday, and that was quite funny for us because this makes Abi 3 days older than you, isn't she? 3 days your senior. I know, and I still look older. Even though actually Sally Carmen celebrated an older birthday just recently, a fairly older birthday. But yeah, fair play to her. I think she could pass for being 3 days your senior. I think she could, yeah. We'll give her that, shall we? But anyway, this isn't about Abi, it's about Ronnie. Don't know how old he was supposed to be, whether they mentioned it or not, but what we do know is he's got a lovely rum cake for it. A very dry-looking rum cake. It was so... I thought it was a somewhat impressive rum cake with all the gold bits on it. It had pistachios. But maybe not, and icing. Not as grand as... Toya and Debbie were trying to make out that it was. I thought it was beautiful, but then I don't really get cakes. You're not a cake person, are you? No. I thought that the funniest bit about that scene was this poor delivery man, the actor, who clearly wasn't allowed to speak. Never has so many questions been asked of someone so unable to speak. Yeah, I think he's got selective mutism or something, because he was just there going... very fancy. Yeah, cronuts. Yeah, he managed. He got like one word out, didn't he? Well, he kind of muttered something. But it was, it was a great episode. A really, really was it? Was Wednesday's episode? That was Ellen Taylor and Jan McVerry. Yeah. So the script Powerhouse. Was on fire. But I do wish that they'd given this guy something to say because it just looked awkward and odd. sometimes I don't think it's apparent until you the scene is played out that like, okay, yeah, this actually you need a guy to say something. But
often they'll have like somebody in the salon or the shop where Rita or Audrey will say, "Thanks, love, come back," and they'll just go nod their head and then leave, and then it's like, oh, that's a bit
very
weird.
Rude, really.
Yeah, but it went on for about 30 seconds where this man really would have said something in real life. Tell you what, I wouldn't like to hear his podcast.
I hope you get to sleep. So this guy brings this rum cake from a fancy bakery, and Debbie rushes over to have a look. And they're like, "Wow, look at this! How dry it is!" Behind the scenes fact, everybody, there were 5 of these cakes.
We have learnt this
because some of them were stunt doubles.
As soon as you saw that cake, you were like, "That's going to end up on the floor."
Every cake. What is the odd? You know how we talk about pregnancies and
how many of them are going to carry full term?
For cakes, what's the survival rate of a cake on Coronation Street? I do think it's like 80% gone.
Yeah, I mean, none of the cakes really make it, because if they're not on the floor, they're eaten. But
no, I know, but like I think
what you mean. How many of them actually get into somebody's mouth?
How many of them are actually served? Right, so Abi shows up to the bistro for the party because Kevin wants her there to show that they can still be friends, but Debbie's not happy about this, calls him a mug.
Because at this point, he doesn't know about
He suspects.
He suspects
very strongly.
I think he suspects, but I think if he suspected that much, he still wouldn't have brought her along. So I don't know whether he kind of half suspects, half in denial.
Yeah.
But he does want to show, particularly for Jack's sake. I think that's a quite mature thing to do, to say, look, we're split up, but I still want to be civil with you for now.
He spent a lot of time talking about how important it is to not upset Alfie.
Yes.
And I think that's very admirable of him, and it's quite notable that Abi has not given one thought about him at all.
Well, Alfie?
Yeah, except
Barely.
to say it will be fine, which I think is so selfish. So anyway, the Baileys and everybody shows up. So you've got Dee Dee, you've got James, you've got Carl,
Beardy Ed,
Ollie.
Yes, Ollie was there.
Ollie, who is who's boyfriend for Dee Dee,
and I don't think
client.
Correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, but I don't think that, despite the fact that he shared a scene with Toya on Wednesday, there weren't any odd glances or looks or anything to tie into the the mystery surrounding Ollie, were there?
No.
So I don't know whether that was a missed opportunity, or they just didn't think, or they just didn't want to add an extra complication. But anyway,
Abi sits down next to Carl, and then when James comes in, and he kind of like puts his hands on Carl's shoulders, and Carl's obviously like, uh-oh.
Yes, it's quite awkward that wasn't it? Both of his lovers there, sitting at the dinner table, and Abi is there, no, Debbie is there, giving him the real stink eye.
So James and Carl, I don't think it's supposed to be a secret, but they're obviously not openly together.
No, they're not.
So he's like, well, what is he going to say? Like, he could blow the whole thing up right now. So the party gets going, and Ollie is talking about his school trip to Germany, and Carl's like, I didn't really live there, it was just a cover story. And then they start talking about whether Carl will go back to Germany, and Ronnie's like, oh, have you got a string of Fräuleins there? And James is like, oh yeah, do you? Because I don't think he knows that Carl's dating women.
No, Matt, no.
Yeah.
James. Oh yeah,
James knows Carl as a gay man.
Yes, you're right.
And I don't know if he thinks he's bisexual or not.
So everyone's assuming that Carl is straight. James is there naively thinking
that he's not straight.
That he's gay. So they're a bit at cross wires here,
like, I don't know whether James teasing him, like, is he teasing him that...
Yeah, he's saying, oh yeah, how many women have you got? Thinking, he hasn't got any, that's the other side like me. But is he teasing him like, oh, you must be not out to your family? Yes.
Because that's a weird thing to sort of... That's a weird thing for him to joke about, given his history of being closeted because of being a footballer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We won't think about that. It was funny to see him squirm, wasn't it?
One of my favourite tropes in drama, soap, whatever, is the awkward dinner party.
Yes.
I love a dinner party episode where people who don't really want to be sitting down next to each other are, for social reasons, forced to, and it's like anything could come out at any time here. The tension is it's always unmatched.
But you know what's interesting though? They never actually have dinner parties. They have only meals out now.
Okay, occasionally they do.
But do you not think it was more of a thing? Maybe it just reflects real society, because I don't think people do have dinner parties. But I love a proper dinner party where there's a harried host who is ruining things and burning stuff and panicking and sniping at their partner while everybody else is just like having an argument.
Yeah, tell you what,
I like those.
There's one less candlelit supper that's going on now that dear Patricia
know.
Routledge is no more.
I know. So Debbie then starts to panic a little bit because she's getting stressed out.
Yeah, just the fact that they're there. And
Ronnie's trying to make a speech about unity between the families. Alfie pushes a glass off the table and it smashes. And then everybody starts fussing over it. And Abi is moaning that Alfie's bored and he wants to go, which is so rude. And then Debbie's getting frantic because nobody is listening to Ronnie doing his speech. And I felt bad. He's the birthday boy here, trying to make a nice speech. And the whole family immediately begins to riot.
Yeah, well, Debbie's also worried because although she does end up blowing it at the end of the week, she's worried that she's got a secret over Kevin that she doesn't want to come out.
Yeah.
And she's thinking, this could come out here.
Yeah, and Carl,
I could be, I could be shown to be implicit.
Well, also, she doesn't want Carl and Abi to be together at all.
No.
And they were sitting next to each other and she didn't want that to happen. And then they both start mopping the floor up because of Alfie. And she's like, no, I don't. So she tells Toya off.
Oh, yeah, she calls her Dolly Daydream,
for not tidying up.
Yeah.
And they both go to the office together. And Abby's there too. And Toya and Abi both kind of accuse Debbie of being a bit misogynistic, I think. There was a bit of undertones here. I need to watch it again, but I just got the impression that she was like... I think it's because Toya said to her, you wouldn't have had a go at Nick like you had a go at me.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And then I can't remember what Abi said.
No, I don't remember. I thought it was interesting.
I
thought it was interesting what they did with Debbie and Toya, because they did show her having a massive go at her, and then later she was kind of sucking up to her, and it was quite subtly played. But it was
Debbie was sucking up to Toya.
Yeah, it was. Is this a bit of a dementia thing? And she's because I can't remember who it is who says that she has these mood swings a little bit more, and I thought that was a very nicely played out one. If indeed it were to do with the dementia, it wasn't in your face.
Well, Toya's not happy.
No.
Anyway, Debbie cannot cope
over it
with Abi being there and flaunting it under Kevin's nose. Like, you've got to end this between you and Carl. And Abi says, I can't. We love each other. And Debbie's like, you're not good enough for him.
That was funny because Abi's saying, so I'm not good enough for Carl, but I am good enough for Kevin. What are you saying about Kevin, Debbie? And Debbie doesn't like...
Debbie's like, well, we all know.
She's kind of caught off guard there. She's not used to having somebody be smart with her.
Yeah, she fumes.
She's the most quick-witted of them.
Abi goes off by herself. Debbie tries to warn Kevin about Abi. They're at the bar together. She's going, you got to get her off the paperwork. She's going to take you to the cleaners. You need to get divorced and do it properly. Then Abby's like listening, overhearing this. She can see that Debbie and Kevin are talking and she's immediately paranoid and texts Carl, Kev knows about us. And then she looks back at it and she's like, oh no, I didn't
We've all done this, haven't we?
I've never done this.
Haven't you?
No.
I think that
I look what I'm doing first.
So this was great because she was so distracted and she didn't see who she was texting. I can definitely think of some times when I've accidentally texted the wrong thing to the wrong person. Like I'm sure I know that there was one time when one of my friends, do you remember Mark, and when he introduced us to his now wife, and I texted you what I thought of this girl for the first time we met, and it was a positive. I didn't say what a minger. I said, oh, she seems quite nice, but I accidentally texted that to Mark rather than you, and I can't remember what the outcome was. It certainly wasn't as explosive as what happened with Kevin there, but I know
it does seem very common to accidentally text the person you're talking about because the name is in your head and then you go.
It's really easy to do. I did this. God, I can't remember what it was. I think even in the past week, I have texted somebody because I use my Mac to do my texting sometimes, and I'm thinking something, and I just type it in the box and send it, and I'm like, oh, well, I've sent it to so-and-so by mistake. I think I sent Dom something this week that was meant for you, and then I deleted the message. So it's really easy.
You're going to end up having an affair by accident.
Maybe I will. But yeah, that was a brilliant moment.
You don't generally send me nice messages, so I don't think it would work.
That's not true.
You don't.
And yeah, so the Abby's reaction was just like, bloody hell, what have I done? The panic, the dread that will go through you when you've said, as I say, maybe not everyone's done it, but when you do
I think
do
quite
it,
a lot of people do it.
It's like,
I'm just paranoid it will happen, so I always check. I also live by a bit of a rule, not really hugely, but I do take this into consideration. I generally try not to text something that I wouldn't be happy the person knowing. Like, in my career, I've learned, do not put in writing something that the person you're writing about would not be happy to read, because it is of no benefit to you whatsoever to have a written, and you do not know whether that would ever get sent to them.
Well, they can have like an access request thing, can't they?
Well, I think it stood me all right.
Yeah, you did all right so far. Right. But anyway, loved this. And then it was immediately,
Kev,
what am I going to do?
She's like, Carl, meet outside now. She deletes it on her phone, but she obviously can't get it off of Kevin's phone. So back to Kevin and Debbie, and he's saying, don't worry about it, because neither of us have got the money to throw at solicitors. Yeah, it's not like we're going to...
No.
There's not going to be any drama there.
This scene was really nicely done, because so much of Abby's panic, you could still hear what Kevin and Debbie were talking about. It was a very much, there's utter panic going on in the background while Kevin and Debbie are just having this.
It's like
it wasn't like a chill chat, but it was yeah. Oh, I loved it.
Like
loved
a swan looks serene up top, but underneath there's just a bunch of frantic paddling.
For sure. I didn't know this was going to happen on Wednesday, so when it happened in a really juicy way like this, it's like great stuff.
So Abby's like, Carl, you need to get Kevin's phone, and then this was a bit. Oh
stupid. Yeah, you did. Yeah, Carl's sitting next to.
Abby's sitting at the table with Kevin's phone in front of her. But then Carl comes over and knocks it onto the floor with his napkin, and then deletes the message. And nobody was watching Abby. She could have picked Kevin's phone up and deleted it without anybody noticing.
Yeah, I don't really get why she didn't do that.
So
she could, I mean, if they were still together, it would have been incredibly easy to do, because we pick up each other's phones all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was odd.
He swipes it, deletes the message, and they're like, "Oh, good, that's good, isn't it? Crisis averted." So everyone gathers to celebrate, singing "Happy Birthday." Here, Dee Dee belting it out.
Oh, yeah, and Dee Dee was doing some very nice harmonising there.
Kevin picks up the tablet that he'd given to Alfie to placate him.
I think you realised. I think you said it's going to appear on the tablet, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it is, isn't it?" Again, I didn't see this coming. This is so clever, and the tablet had been dropped into conversation earlier. I did not make that connection. That was really smart.
Abby realises before anyone else does that Kevin could be getting the messages on his tablet, and then as they get to the climax of Happy Birthday, he looks at it and he leaps up in the air, and it's like him move. It's like he was going for the cake, because he just knocks the cake out of Nick's hand, and it drops on the floor. And then he shouts, "Us, you and him, you're having an affair all this time." Then he thumps Carl, and Debbie's like, "I hope you're happy, Abby, you cow."
Great scene.
It was. This is what people were saying about how did he know immediately it was them two, but he'd been suspecting it was going on.
Yeah.
So Carl's like, "Kevin, Abby wasn't happy with you. Your marriage was dead." And Kevin's not happy about this. And James is like looking at Carl like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah.
He takes him to one side and says, "Why didn't you tell me? Obviously Abby doesn't know about us." And he says, "Look, I want to be with Abby properly. Please, can you not say anything?" And he's like, "No."
That was kind of an unusual line for Carl, I think, because everything else that we've seen about Carl so far is giving the impression that he's got no desire, no intention of a long-term future here. And even on Friday, he was trying to delay the runaway that she's asked for. So I don't completely get why they had Carl saying, I think I want to be with her.
I think he said that to emotionally blackmail James into not saying anything, like, "Please don't break her heart. This isn't just a fling. It's important to me."
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Because he's so manipulative. But I agree with you. This was very out of character in general, because you're right. He obviously doesn't want to hang out with Abby anymore.
Well, I think Alfie's one of the main problems, isn't he? And they had that scene in today's episode where as soon as they're together in the hotel and Carl's wound up by Alfie playing with his toy. Tell you what, if Alfie was anything like Doran, he'd be out the door by now.
I thought he'd
be like, "Can you shut that child up, please?
Does this child turn off ever?"
Has he got a mute button?
I know this isn't mean, but it is kind of refreshing to have a character on the show who's like, "I don't like children. They are not annoying."
Yeah.
Not that I would ever say that to a parent. Especially if I would never date anybody who had a kid and have a problem with it. That just seems like such a stupid thing to do.
Know.
But like the fact that he's like, "Actually, I really hate Alfie."
Well, it was a bit like we had that with when Charlie Stubbs was dating Tracy. Well, dating in the loosest term. He was just, again, it was a very casual relationship, and she was like, "Well, Amy can come and live with you," and he was very openly saying, "I want nothing to do with your kid. She's annoying."
So Carl and
they're both villains. See, only evil people find children's toys irritating. So Kevin and Abi have it out at number 13, and Abby's saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It started when you were lying about having cancer. We tried to fight it." And Kevin's like, "Oh, well, I lied because I was worried about losing you. So you're telling me that if I hadn't done it, I hadn't lied, we'd still be together?" And she's like, "I don't."
That was still a bad move, having Kevin lie.
I don't know.
Like that.
I'm sorry, I don't think I was happy before Carl came along anyway, but I did love you. And he says, this is when he says, "Do you still?" And she says, "I'll always love you." And then this is when Kevin's like begging, like, we can still be together, we can still make it worse, we can get past it.
Yeah, and I think later on she says, "But I'm not in love with you." It was that old classic, wasn't it?
Classic. Meanwhile, we get James telling Ed and Ronnie that he didn't know what was going on with Carl, and he's like, "Me and Carl are even mates." Because they were saying, like, "Oh, you know, you have had all these sessions with him."
PT sessions with him.
Debbie is trying to phone Kevin up, and Kevin and Abi are just ignoring this phone ringing. And he's saying, "Oh, I should have been more loving and supportive of you. I can understand you wanting attention from somebody else." And she's like, "Oh, look, I don't need pity. Like, please don't make me feel guilty." And he says, "I know what it was like to be in your position. I knew I should never have gone off with Natalie, but me and Sally got back together afterwards, and we could still get back together." And Abby says, "No, I am in love with Carl, and we're going to be together."
It's kind of interesting to consider from a character point of view how much Kevin is complacent because of the fact he was able to get back together after with Sally
anymore.
No, he's not anymore, but he's lived through a situation where the woman who was cheated on has forgiven him, and has that kind of in his head made it click like, it's okay. I'm a very forgivable sort of man.
No, he's not the one that needs to be forgiven.
Or take back of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he needed to be forgiven for.
But he hasn't done anything wrong in this situation.
Sorry, yes, you're right. He's thinking affairs aren't necessarily
deal breakers.
The end, and we've seen that with plenty of people. I think doesn't Tyrone and Fizz get brought up as an example from somebody earlier when Ty was having it off with Alina.
Anyway, she says, "Well, I'm not in love with you. I'm in love with Carl." And Kevin says, "Well, Carl's a player. He'll drop you like a stone. He jumps from girl to girl, and he doesn't like kids." And Abby's like, "Well, he loves me." Then in walks Jack going, "What the hell are you doing? What's going on?" And then Kevin says, "Right, Abby, if you really want this to happen, tell Jack. Jack what's going on."
What did you think about Kevin?
I thought it was funny. I thought it was really cruel to use Jack like that, but it was also like, it would be hard to avoid.
It would be really hard,
for Kevin to be like, "Go on then. Go on, let's start now then."
Yeah,
if this
Kevin
is what you
has had this massive thing dumped on him, and I think that a lot of people in this situation would, be saying, you tell him yourself.
Yeah.
You got yourself into this. Why should I be the one to give him the bad news? It's funny because he mentioned earlier, I can't remember what the context of it was. He's saying, "Well, Jack's pretty much a grown up, or he's almost an adult now." And I was like thinking, yeah, he is. But then it wasn't until later I was like, no, he's not. He's just really tall. And the guy who plays him is 18. But Jack himself is still, 15 at this point, I think.
Wow, watch out for Trisha.
Huh?
Watch out for Trisha.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah.
Right, so... if you think about it from that perspective of Jack being a similar age to Tim, it's gross. Anyway, he says... Jack's disgusted. He says, "I don't want to see you ever again, Abby. You're horrible." And then Kevin's like, "Well, think about all the good things I've done for you. You wouldn't be anywhere without me. Get out."
Yeah.
So she does. And then he's like, "Oh, in the corridor." Sad. And Abby's like texting Carl going, we're coming to be with you, me and Alfie, get some snacks." And Carl's like, "Oh, flipping heck, snacks."
Yeah, I love that scene where Carl was sitting on the bed in the hotel and the camera kind of pans out from him, and it's the realisation dawning on him that he's not going to be able to use this room as a hideaway.
Yeah.
Like, he's been perfectly enjoying having the little bunk ups with Abby and then having his alone time or the time with James.
Yeah.
And
it's
he's
all
like,
gone now.
So this is it now,
reality.
is it?
It's hit now, and he can't watch his football and drink his beer. He's got to get snacks for a child.
Yeah.
What do you need snacks for? I don't know. So Abby turns up at the hotel and tells Carl everything that's happened, and it's like, "Now we can be together." And Carl's like, "Oh, great."
Yeah. Unconvinced, wasn't he?
Debbie goes to see Kevin, and Kevin's like, "Did you not see anything happen at the hotel? Wouldn't you have seen them together? Like, you would have told me, wouldn't you?" And she's like, "Yes, I would have. I would definitely. I don't know." And she says,
"This was bound to come out today.
This is for the best, isn't it? Really, Kevin, you don't need Abi in your life, and neither does Jack." And he's like, "Oh, I'm so lucky to have you. You would never lie to me."
Phrase of doom. Yeah, I'm glad that it came out today because it was clearly going to be not too long before that bombshell hit.
On Friday, Debbie cannot believe it to see Abi in the hotel lobby with Alfie. And she's like, "What are you doing here?
What is she doing there? Why didn't she sling her out on Wednesday after the whole thing with the birthday party? Why on earth would she let Abi, well, even Carl, stay in this hotel for one more night after everything that they've done? Don't you think?"
I'm not in the hotel business, but I would imagine that he's using up a room for nothing.
There are plenty of other hotels in Weatherfield. Apparently, I don't know. Obviously, they're not as cheap, or
not as free.
Chariot Square's got something going for it because that's all the only hotel anyone ever stays at. But come on, if I was Debbie, I would not have Abi or Carl stay any longer in that hotel. Seriously.
Well, Debbie's like, "Get away from this hotel and move away from here."
Yeah, she does say it, but she doesn't. You know, by the end of the episode, Abby's moving her stuff into it. Why isn't Debbie there kicking her out on a bum? On a bum, seriously.
Number 13, Jack is like, "I'm sad about this.
I'm furious
it's
about
quiet.
this.
Why would Abi do this? I hate her." And then later on he sees Abi when he's walking around in the street, and she's like trying to, "Oh, what, are you all right? Oh, how come you're not at school?" And he's like, "Leave me alone."
Yeah, it's a bit quite mature of him, I suppose.
He said, "Dad's in bits at home. Leave me and him alone." So Abi doesn't listen. She goes to number 13 and says to Kevin, "Just seen Jack. He's very late to school. He's eating junk food for breakfast. What's it got? I've been away from this house for 5 minutes."
Well, I don't. Jack, I also skived off school today. At least you went in. I was even cooler than you, and I didn't even go into school today. So,
what did you have for breakfast?
I did have a fancy breakfast as well today. Well, an unhealthy
breakfast.
Unhealthy breakfast I had today.
He had an energy drink.
Yeah, I didn't have that. I think I feel like I need one at the moment, though.
Kevin says, "Jack has got nothing to do with you anymore. Don't worry about it. Give me your key. Pick your stuff up later." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know how much of it I'll need because we're moving away. We're leaving Weatherfield." And Kevin's like, "Oh, hang on a minute. No, you can't leave. I'm the only dad Alfie's ever known."
I wonder how much of a dad Kevin actually does feel to Alfie, because we've not seen a whole lot of that dynamic, have we?
No, but he does. The very few times he ever talks about Alfie, he's very not. You know, he seems like he's genuinely cares about him.
I mean, how long have they been together now? A couple of years? And Alfie's 3 or so? So I guess he has felt like a bit of a son to him, but I don't know, just because we never really see them together that much.
I mean, how much of a dad do you think that Kevin is to anybody?
Why? What do you mean?
Do you not think he's like one of these remote dads or something, you know? Like, "Oh, well, how was your day, son?" Anyway, no more details. Right, so he's mad and tells her to get out of the house. So she goes to the cafe with Carl, and Carl's like, maybe we shouldn't go right now. Maybe we shouldn't leave Weatherfield right now. But before they can get too far into it, Bernie comes along and he says, "I think you should go and pick your bra off of the lintel."
Is that what it's called?
Oh, well, I don't know. The bay window. It's hanging off the bay window.
Yeah. That was great. It seems like it's been so long since Corrie's done a classic close out the window scene, hasn't it?
This is what people want from Coronation Street, surely.
It is, we had it. Well, Vera chucking Jack things out. It's a classic Corrie scene. But I very much appreciated it. Just thought it was a bit odd how little in the way of clothing Abi actually had.
Maybe she's one of these efficient women who rotates her wardrobe.
Do you reckon?
And she's got all of her winter clothes out. She's put all of her summer and
everything
spring
else
clothes,
is in storage,
and he doesn't even know. He hasn't noticed.
This is her autumn bra that's dangling off. Well,
it's a fiery red, like maple leaves.
It was definitely a saucy bra, wasn't it? And I didn't see any knickers there. I guess she doesn't need them at the moment, does she?
No. This is what's got her in this trouble. I
think
this is. I think Kevin should have bought us some more sturdy ones.
They could have had Kevin throwing the knickers out the window and say, "Watch out below! I'm about to drop Abby's knickers." Oh wait, too late for that.
He does make a joke about throwing her mug.
Oh yeah, what does he say? Here's your favourite mug. Oh, apart from me.
Yes.
Again, has Abby only got one mug? And what's so good about it?
You can only have one favourite mug. But you know what I say?
What?
No favourites.
If you were ever chucking me out of my house, you would love to be there chucking my stuff out.
Oh, your house, is it now?
The house. You would relish chucking away all my amiibo
I would
figures
throw those amiibos so
and
far.
all my Nintendo discs. You'd be slinging them like frisbees, wouldn't you?
Flinging them across the place. Yeah, that sounds great.
That's why I'm
actually
not going to have an affair with your sister.
Good, because I would be upset to find out
that you had a sister.
So yeah, he's chucking everything everywhere. And he says, "Don't step foot in this house again. Carl, as far as I'm concerned, you might as well be dead." There's some neighbours watching, which is, again, brilliant. Love that there's...
Was it George that handed Abby her bra?
He goes, "I think this is yours." It's not bloody Carl's, is it? So it was... Leanne gave us some bags, and then we had Glenda there as well.
Yeah, no, that was good to get in the community around. It was still a fairly small crowd, but it felt somewhat
At
classic
least somebody was there. Yeah,
yes.
So... they're scooping everything up, aren't they? And Jack comes home and joins in.
Can I help throw my mum's bra out the window? That's weird.
Okay. Gonna put you on a list. Kevin ends up in the pub and he's just completely defeated, and he tells Glenda he needs a drink, and Glenda says, "Yeah, but I'm gonna make you a cup of tea. I'm not gonna give you any alcohol. Let's come to the back room." She lends him a sympathetic ear, but then when she leans in to get his mug, he thinks he's trying. He goes in for a kiss, and she's like, "Oh gosh."
That was a bit unnecessary, wasn't it? I mean, nothing's going to come of it. I liked how Glenda didn't, she said, "Oh, what are you doing?" But she forgives him pretty quickly, doesn't she? Because she knows that. I
think that it's good that it didn't feel like this is going to turn into anything. I don't really know why that scene was in there, but
what would it turn into? Glenda going to wake up in the middle of the night and go, "Hang on a minute, I quite like the idea of that."
Oh,
no, that was lovely, and I did appreciate how they had Glenda there, like you said, lending a sympathetic ear. I think if I was going through some kind of a intense emotional trauma, I'd have Glenda speak to me as well. She feels like she's good at making people feel better. She could just sing a little song for me. And
what do you want her to sing?
I don't know, just something relaxing, just to calm me down.
Well, you saw Jodie today, and she asked you what karaoke song you were going to sing.
Yes, I know. Yeah, we did talk that.
She thinks you should sing "Two Become One."
Yes, so maybe she can sing that to me. I don't know.
I think that might trigger you if you were having an emotional reaction to your wife cheating on you, and then Glenda Shuttleworth singing "Two Become One." Maybe it would confuse you, and you start going in for a kiss.
If she started singing "Wanna Make Love to You, Baby,"
exactly.
then I certainly would. Yeah.
Look, you're sending me mixed messages, Glenda. Make your mind up. So he rushes out. He's like, "Oh, idiot!" Slaps himself on the head. Meanwhile, in the hotel room, Abby is unpacking some of her stuff, and she says to Carl, "We can't live like this. We're all stuck in one room. We need a fresh start."
Yes.
And Alfie's just making a noise, and he's like, "Does he do this all the time?" Then he says, "Look, we can't. I've thought about this actually, and we can't go anywhere because I need to be here for Debbie."
Mm-hmm.
And so he says, "Look, Kevin's going to get over this. Like, we'll be all right, okay?" And she calms down.
He's using Debbie to... Well, I can believe it because he's an utter dog, using Debbie's illness to try and delay this. He doesn't want her. When's she gonna realise? I assume it's when she's gonna catch him and James at it, maybe. Or is he going to engineer it so that she catches him and James at it? Because then he won't have to dump her himself.
James has washed his hands of it.
Yeah, I think he has, to be honest.
Which is kind of a shame.
What?
Because I think it would be quite funny, but I think James is... maybe he's not a Christian, but it looks like he's still got morals. I didn't know that you could do it that way. But yeah, he wasn't very... I thought that they were doing casual kind of hookup stuff. And I was surprised how much it bothered James. But I think... Is it...
Oh yeah, on Wednesday, me too, actually.
Do you think it's just because he's you're a dirty affair-having dog? It wasn't because he was having it off with someone else, or was it?
I think it was.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was.
But why I thought that was so much more casual than...
I know that James didn't think that Carl was
having
that he was anything special.
No, I know, but I don't think he thought he was having a relationship with anybody.
No.
It depends. Some people just don't care about being the other person, do they? But I think that James seems like it bothered him.
Yeah, I still find it difficult to not think about the old James, because I think the old James was a lot more sensitive. And
I think the old James wouldn't have ended up in any of these situations.
I don't think so. I can't picture old James, it with Carl. No,
anyone
parading around in his undercrackers in the hotel room.
No, or doing personal training.
No,
none of it. I could barely imagine him playing football, and supposedly I've seen it happen with my own eyes. So, she's like, okay, I love you. Oh, calm. Kevin ends up in speed dial, and Leanne is there. It's good that they let Leanne be in it today.
Why?
She's hardly in it, is she?
Oh no, she's barely in it. No.
And it's quite funny when it feels like sometimes they use characters in such interchangeable ways that this could have been anybody. But Leanne says, "You get past it. I got cheated on as well."
Who hasn't?
In this show, he's very much down in the dumps, and he calls himself the local sad sack. And he tells Leanne and Tim how he's driven Abi away and took her for granted, and this gets Tim's brain ticking. Exactly. Which something's got to. Debbie comes into the pub, and Glenda says, "Oh, I had a bit of an awkward moment with Kevin. He just attempted to peck me on the cheek." And Debbie, you need to tell him that I don't care. I've forgotten all about it, even though I'm bringing it back up again. Debbie heads into speed dial as Tim's just texted her that's where Kevin is. So she ends up back at number 13 with him. And she's telling him, she's like, "Oh yeah, I know how you feel. I was so angry when I found out."
God, Debbie, you plonker.
And Kevin realises that she knew.
It was clearly going to happen, but I didn't think it would be as easy as Debbie just not realising what she's saying.
Yeah. So she's just let it slip. And so as Carl and Abi are walking hand in hand, openly flaunting their love down the road, Kevin chucks Debbie out. It's a good job he didn't chuck her out the top window like he did the brass. Chucks her out.
She's quite small. She's probably got her terminal velocity is pretty low.
She's like a cat. She just lands on her feet.
Yeah.
So she's trying...
If you try and throw Jack out the top window, he'd probably have his feet on the ground, and Kevin would still be holding on to him. And
just walk off. So she's trying to explain herself, and he slams the door in her face.
That was so sad when she was crawling through the letterbox.
She wasn't crawling. I know she's small, but not that small.
Crawling through the letterbox, not crawling.
She crawls back inside. You can't stop me.
But yes, because she says, "Oh, my family is all I had," and like... Debbie is the real victim here.
Well, she's screaming and "I need you, I need you," and then Carl's like trying to comfort her, and she goes, "You destroyed my family. Look what you've done."
Well, she's saying it to Abi, isn't she?
You rot in hell for what you've done.
Yeah, poor old Debbie, because like they say, like she said, she's now not got anybody really.
No,
I mean she probably has, to be honest, but she needs her family around her at this point, and she's gonna have her her final years potentially with her family in tatters.
I know you've forgotten this, but we did actually do a quiz about Ronnie. Remember Ronnie?
Yes, I do remember, of course.
Yeah, so she has got him.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
See, you've forgotten already.
He is quite forgettable.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Ronnie. Why do you bring him up?
Anyway, that was that, wasn't it? So I enjoyed this story this week, but just because this horrible affair that I've not been relishing at all this year has finally been exposed, it was quite an exciting
do you think it's worth
drop
it?
On Wednesday.
Is it like exercising and dieting for months and months and months and then revealing your gorgeous outfit at a party?
Something like that, yeah. Okay. I wonder how long it's going to be before it gets to be annoying and tedious. I think that things are spiced up now. So I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's gonna? Do you think the end is in sight?
I'm just happy that the situation has changed.
Yeah. Because
I think there was a lot of the same stuff, and we waited for the affair to happen for so long, and then it happened.
Yeah, you're right.
And then they were sneaking around, and now we've finally got. The thing is about it is that this is where it was heading the whole time.
Yeah.
And now I think we're in uncharted waters, aren't we? Because we're like, oh, what will happen now? Instead of thinking. Can we get through the stages of affairs, please?
Yeah. Okay, so let's do the Asha story. As I said,
I kind of enjoyed this, but not really. It's just that it was really good characters, but I just wasn't in the mood this week to see this kind of depressing stuff.
Well, no, I can't remember where I've said this, because we've recorded so many things recently, but it's not hit me which is sad because I love Asha. The skin lightening story really got me, but this one, like I said, we don't know what's going on inside her head, so
no.
But let's talk about.
Should we just rush through it? And I'm really sorry for the people that really got into this, because I saw loads of lots of praise for this story. But
the thing about it is that I think I said this earlier, and I've forgotten where I said this, if it was in this episode or not. But you feel bad if you don't like this kind of story, because this is really deeply important to people and means a lot for them. And I don't ever want somebody to think, if we're talking about a story about something that they have gone through, and we're like, oh, this is boring, oh, I didn't like this, it didn't resonate with me. It's like, it's not about the situation in real life. This is just about, and it's not necessarily about the story or even how the story was told or who told it or how. Sometimes it just misses you, you know? It just completely misses you. And I think what you said about empathy fatigue is very true, where I've just run out of that space in my head.
And I think as well, especially on Wednesday and today's episodes, the other stories were that much stronger and a bit more dramatic and soapy and like, oh, I can't believe that's just happened. That having this, they just didn't quite stand up against it.
It's interesting too that they decided to do this after Ardy's left, because I genuinely think that Ardy might have added something to this that is missing.
He might have Ardied something to it.
Might have.
I don't know. Okay, so what do we get? We got Bernie and Dev in the hotel, because they're married now, aren't they? She's down as Bernie Winter Allahan, I think, in the credits.
Just Bernie Winter now.
No, I don't think so. I think she's Winter Allahan. But Asha kind of starts the episode in the corner shop, and she's acting a little peculiar, isn't she? Because she tells Billy to tell Summer that she's amazing. I
really can't believe this whole thing has unfolded in a week. Because when you've just started reading this, I was like, oh yeah, it was this week that this happened.
Yeah.
I was thinking we've had like a whole week of aftermath, but we haven't.
No, but Monday's episode started and she still hasn't done it yet. But she's get's ready because she's just boozing away, isn't she? She's got a bottle of something behind the counter.
At the corner shop.
Yeah, so she takes another bottle of wine when it's time to lock up the shop.
Well, did you say what she said to Billy?
Yeah, she said about Summer.
Yeah, which is clearly, like, sadly, the only note she would have left.
Yeah, and I suppose I don't know.
Well, imagine how haunted you feel if you were Summer and you were like, was that the last thing she said to anybody? And then, it's
Well, she leaves the shop and she leaves Brody in charge, doesn't she? And the next time we see her is Theo, of all people, finding Asha passed out on a bench in Victoria Gardens. What interesting choice, I suppose, because Theo isn't all bad, is he? He's got a temper, he's very controlling, but I think that there is something good in there.
Do you know what's funny, though? Because if there's a very real chance that if Carl had seen her and it was inconvenient or it would have exposed him in some way, he wouldn't have said anything. Because he's done that before, where he's like, this isn't good for Carl.
Yeah, he is no good Samaritan.
Whereas Theo... He's not a good guy, obviously, but he's not, like you said,
he was raised a Christian.
He's not a villain. No. He's like, what would Jesus do?
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus would be like, you're welcome for the wine.
So anyway, he goes and helps Asha out. Amy just happens to be walking past, so she gets roped in to help her as well. And there's ambulances and paramedics coming to see Asha, who's still passed out at this point. How much during the week, if at all, were you concerned about Asha and her health, and is she going to be okay?
I was worried about... Now, they purposefully didn't talk about what it was that she might have taken. And I'm not going to talk about what it could have been, because there's a very good reason for not doing that. and it goes with, I kind of like would hope it goes without saying, but if this is something that really upsets you and triggers you, please look online for resources to help you, because this is like not the solution for anything. But we were watching it with one of our friends who's like, she's a chemist and she knows all, you know, she's a science person, and we were talking about pills, and I think in fiction, and this is what happened in the show this week, it's like, if it didn't kill you, you're absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. No harm done. Go home. But
skipping down the street by the end of the week.
I'm not going to say which pills they are, but there are ones that people will quite often use that will really, really mess you up if it doesn't get you.
And you know, you can pump your stomach, but the damage has been done.
You can just still, many days later, you could still die.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, this could get super dark. I hope this doesn't happen. But equally, it's hard because it feels like nothing. It feels like she's just fine now.
Yeah, I didn't think that Asha was going to end up dying this
No,
week,
I didn't think she was going to die.
Which at the end, again, was a bit of a... I don't want to dismiss it and say, well, that was the point then.
But I was thinking, this could be a quite interesting storyline about somebody who tried to kill themselves and had to live with a medical thing. But then I thought, am I saying this about Coronation Street, which is notoriously bad at maintaining any kind of continuity with people having medical problems, apart from treating it like it's a fun bit of trivia every now and then?
But yeah, I wasn't worried about her, and maybe that's why, again, I wasn't as invested in this story, because I didn't expect Asha to...
I just think at the moment,
any long-term effects or, you know, die from it.
Corrie is like a, you know, such a leaky ship that I don't think there's anybody that could leave without us knowing.
No, exactly. Anyway,
and they would be crackers to get rid of the wonderful and delightful
Tanisha Gore. Yeah. So
Ches and Dev... I was swallowing.
You got your cider, haven't you? Ches and Dev are in the hospital later. They're pacing the floors, and Dev's on the phone to Brody saying, "Did you give Asha drugs? Because she's been found with this pill bottle, hasn't she, or a packet or something or other." And
yeah, because first of all, did you know that she was going to do this? Because I thought she was just drunk.
Well, yeah, I knew that it was going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen. And even when you turned on Monday's episode, it's like contains themes of suicide as part of the warning for you. So they gave it away a little bit. But yeah, anyway, so Brody's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But it's fine because Asha, we're told, is responding well to treatment, and they can go and see her later. Dev's there with Bernie, isn't he? And yeah, they get invited to go and see Asha, and she's feeling tired and very ashamed. Dev's still telling her, you just made a mistake. He's kind of in denial about the whole thing, isn't he? He was trying to. He doesn't want to admit that.
It's like he's trying to brush it under the carpet because he doesn't want it to be real.
Yeah.
And he feels as though if he just pretends it was all just a big misunderstanding, then she won't actually still be in a mental health crisis. Because he's kind of... Many people are completely unequipped to do anything about it. Like, how this comes out of the blue for a lot of people, and it's really difficult to know what to say. And you can tell, I mean, later on, Dev is struggling with anger about what's happened, and like being completely furious with Asha for thinking that this was the correct solution for what her problem is, and he doesn't really know how to articulate any of this because he can't say that to her.
We were talking earlier and saying that we haven't seen enough to kind of warrant why she would feel as low as she does, but she does, I suppose, open up to Dev and say, well, I've had such a rubbish year. There was Craig dying, Mason dying, and we did see that.
The thing about it is that if you're depressed or suicidal, it's not necessarily anything outwardly like a trigger. If it was that easy, it wouldn't, we'd have a better handle on it, wouldn't we? You don't go, you're in danger because this has happened to you, and well, it's your brain reacting to things, but sometimes it's just your brain doing it by itself.
Yeah. And
there are people who you can look at their lives and go, everything's perfect for you, you've got this and that, and you're gorgeous and you're rich and got a great job and you've got a great family, but there's something going on that means that your brain is doing its own thing, completely divorced from reality. And that's the hardest part about this, because it doesn't always make sense to people. No. And this is what I'm saying about not being inside her head. This is why these kind of storylines are quite difficult. Because if you lived inside Asha's head, you would know exactly you would feel the same way that she did.
Yeah.
And it would make sense to you. And I also think, unless you are somebody who's had these thoughts or gone through this, you don't understand. Yeah, you can never understand. You could watch any Academy Award-winning movie with the best actress in the world and the best scriptwriter and still not really, truly understand what it's like inside somebody's head.
So the episode kind of goes on, and Brody turns up to check she's okay, and it kind of gets cleared up that no, he definitely didn't give her the drugs, and Asha talks to her mental. I felt bad for
him being accused of it.
I don't care. I don't care about Brody. Asha's talking to a mental health lady, isn't she, a little bit, and she's saying, well, you're going to be faced with lots of other traumatic and potentially triggering situations in the job that you've chosen, and Asha, by the end of the episode, I think, has just declared that she doesn't want to be a paramedic anymore. Was that Monday? No, I don't think it was. I think she kind of is just looking a bit sad, really. And yeah, there's just lots of sobbing and crying and stuff. I don't want to downplay it.
I know, but you are being a bit mean.
I'm sorry. I'm a bit tired. So Wednesday's episode, you get Bernie and Deb visiting Asha, and the doctor says, look, we need to take a few more blood tests. We're going to have to monitor for a bit longer. Then you can go home. And she's ended up staying a good amount of time in hospital, doesn't she? Bernie gets chatting with Dev back at home later, and Dev's telling Bernie how angry at Asha he is, because he's like, how could she do this? She's got it all. She's got her life is great at the moment, and she knew what happened to the family when Sunita died, and she was willing to put us through that again. How did you find Dev's reaction?
I thought this was great. This is how you would feel. And it was kind of scary and sad to know that he's holding it in. He's so cross at her, but he loves her so much that he knows he can't say this to her. And he also saying, Bernie, Paul, you went through this. Paul died, and he didn't do this to himself. How
it was interesting. It didn't get brought up because I can't remember whether Bernie knows that.
Bernie does know that Paul was going to do that.
Well, did she?
But I don't know whether Dev knows that. I think the point.
Oh,
I think the reason
not, because he probably would have mentioned it.
No, I think that's what he brought it up for.
Oh, okay.
Like he had the option. Like he was ready, and he didn't do it. And now you've got Asha, who she's got, like, compared to Paul, she's got a perfect life.
Yeah. But
again,
Paul wished he could have had.
But remember, it's the body versus the mind, isn't it? Like what happened to Paul's body is what's happening to Asha's mind. You just can't see it because you're not in there. But the horror and the sadness and the being afraid is all inside her head. And that's why this is really tragic. But unfortunately, I can only engage with it on an intellectual level rather than an emotional one.
I can't even because do that. I'm not intellectual enough.
It's not getting. I don't mean intellectual like smarty pants. I mean in my.
It's the subject of your next dissertation, isn't it?
I'm trying to go for a doctorate in Coronation Street.
Bernie ends up letting slip to Asha, doesn't she, that Dev's mad later, just to cause a little bit of extra drama there.
Well, she says, it's not at you, it's at the situation.
Yeah, and Dev's not happy with her when he finds that out. So he goes and brings Asha a bit of curry later and says, I'm super mad at Bernie. She didn't.
I'm mad at the situation.
She shouldn't have told you that. I'm not mad at you, honey. I promise. And Asha's like, fine. If I understand if you're angry at me. And Dev's like, no, I'm angry at myself. I didn't see the signs. She says, this is the episode that she ends up saying, I don't want to be a paramedic anymore. She's not going to be a paramedic, is she?
I think it's very possible.
Do you?
Yeah, because I don't think that she makes sense. She being a paramedic makes as much sense as Craig being a police officer when he was the only one in it.
I'd like to say that Corrie couldn't resist having another member of the emergency services as one of their characters' jobs, but maybe
We don't need a paramedic character. Corrie has gone 65 years without a paramedic on the main cast, but the amount of accidents and crime and...
But do you not think it's already kind of outstayed its welcome a little bit that she's done so many things on the street and seen stuff that's to do with people that she knows? Like, this wouldn't happen.
But it feels like it's a really lovely cost-cutting measure from Coronation Street, because next time there's a big stunt or what have you on the street, they can have Asha turn up, just like, you know, every time somebody's nicking something, Craig or Lisa or whoever turn up. But and then what's Asha going to do again? The whole of that friendship group is just spinning their wheels a bit. They're all out of school for years now, Summer and Amy and Asha, and it doesn't feel like they've really got anything resembling a career off the ground apart from Asha.
Well, that's why they tried to go to the careers fair, but it was ruined by that massive racist.
Yeah, you're right, actually. I think that the answer to this story is her realising, no, I can do it, and then she's going to get all empowered and she's going to be the best damn paramedic the Weatherfield's ever seen.
It's hard because it's not also empowering to realise that it's not for you, and to be brave enough to say, I quit.
Maybe it must be difficult because I suppose when you're in a job like this, then you've got to be almost numb to it and desensitised, and that can't be very nice to think that I'm going to become desensitised to these horrific situations.
How does anybody remove themselves from medical stuff? I don't know how you do it.
No.
I get sad when I see a missing cat poster. It actually bums me out for ages, and I like, I've said this on the podcast before, I nearly unfollowed my mum on Facebook because she kept sharing missing cat pictures, and it just upsets me. So I couldn't, but maybe it's because I like cats more than people.
Yeah.
Maybe I would be fine with being a paramedic, like, sorry, your grand's dead, right, on to the next job.
On Friday's episode, Dev brings a few bitsy bobsies for Asha from home, and she says to her, are you sure you're going to quit this course? And she's like, yeah, I'm quitting, I'm done. So Dev is then snappy with Bernie later, and says,
I thought this was nice when he was mad, and then he immediately said, I'm sorry, look, it's not about you.
Yeah, it was nice.
I'm scared about her.
Yeah, the fact when he said, I'm just worried that she's going to do it again.
Yeah,
really
because he didn't see it coming, and nothing's changed. And I don't know when Asha says this, but she says, the way she talks about the way her brain is feeling was so heartbreaking. I think it was to one of the mental health people, and she's like, nothing's changed in my head. I just know that's not the right thing to do. But I also wonder whether she's saying that because she thinks it's the right thing to say. I'm not saying that I think she's going to try and do it again, but I think she realises that the only way she can get out of that is by going, that was wrong. I won't do it again.
Yeah.
Do you think that she would ever try again, or do you think that there's...
I don't think so. I think that she, having seen Dev's reaction to it, and sure, she must have considered before she did it before, what are my family going to be like? What are they going to think? How are they going to react? Can I do this to them? Now that she's seen what Dev's like, I think that would be enough of a deterrent for her.
I think that Dev needs some therapy. I'm not even joking, because I think it's really difficult to put to understand what somebody's going through, and you take it personally and you think, how could you do this to me? But to the people who are doing it, it's like that. It doesn't even feel like a choice. It's like, I'm in so much pain. Like Paul, I'm in so much pain. I need to stop this from I have to stop. I have to stop this. I can't carry on like this. It's not like they go, I know what I'll do today.
No, that's true. That's true.
So he needs to have some therapy to understand that the way that he's thinking about it is just hurting himself, because it's not at all like, people that do this they know exactly what their families are going to think, but it's so much more painful to live the way they are living that pain is all they can think about.
I suppose because it felt to the viewers, to us at least, it came out of nowhere on Monday.
That's what I kept saying.
That you think, well, has Asha really put much thought into this? But I guess she has. You
just have to believe the show when it tells you something in some situations, because otherwise you can't watch it. But like, this wasn't like a cry for help, was it? This wasn't like a look.
Oh no, it wasn't.
I need some people do that. I just don't know how to ask for help, so this is me asking you. But Asha was clearly not like expecting to wake up.
No. The only other thing we had to have happen in today's episode was her saying that she's going to get some counselling sessions on the NHS, and Deb saying no, I'll pay for it, but she says no, I'll wait. I'm going to be fine. Don't worry about it. So
is this just going to turn into an NHS waiting list storyline?
Yeah, probably. Anyway, that was kind of that story, wasn't it? Oh, I did. I've written a little note here, which of a funny scene that was didn't have any bearing on any of events, but it was just about related to this. It was when Brody was left in the shop. Do you remember when Ken comes in and Brody's talking about this Mr. Osborne at the STC who used to cry over poems, and
Ken's giving him like a fart face.
that was kind of funny, but cut for Canada. I'm going to say that scene. Finally, we've got.
I wonder if they even do that anymore.
Yeah, I bet they do. So we got the Theo and Todd story, which was going great guns again this week. I'm really invested in this now. I think that it took a long time for me to warm to him as a character, because he just felt like there was something off at the beginning, but now I'm just loving him as a villain.
Again, I feel like this happened a month ago.
No. So
he's still missing, isn't he?
Yes. Last week he came back to the flat and then disappeared off and had that little Ginnell meet up with Jake Windass, Corrie's next
Jake,
top criminal extraordinaire.
Jake is definitely a villain, I think, now. What do you reckon?
It looks like they're going that way with him, making him into a little scrote.
Yeah.
We didn't see him this week, did we?
So Monday, Todd is telling George that Gary saw Theo hanging around, but he's not come home yet. And George is like, look, we've got some work to do. You can't be thinking about this. And so this is when Theo rescues Asha, and he ends up by himself in Victoria Gardens. And Todd finds him, and he has to go at him. And he's saying, I thought you were dead, And Theo gets all moody about this. But then Amy tells Todd that it was Theo who found Asha, and that's it, that he's a hero. And Todd goes and tells up to Theo in the bistro and says that, I'm sorry, are you okay? I should have listened to you. And Theo says, oh, I'm really shaken up. I rescued a woman from death. And so they go back to the flat, and at the flat, Todd tells Theo that he was worried about him. And Theo's like, look, no, my head's not in the right place. Like, he's completely using this to escape scrutiny for what the hell he thinks he was doing and playing at. He did this on purpose to worry Todd, and now he's avoiding all accountability for what the bloody hell he was up to and where he was. So then he goes and he's like, I have to have a lie down because I'm very shaken up from rescuing Asha from death, which he didn't really, did he? He just found her. So when he comes back, he's like, I've had a great idea, Todd, for how to get out of, again, being held accountable for anything. I'm going to see a therapist.
NHS or private?
Private.
Dev's paying.
Dev's paying. Yeah, we got 2 for 1. And he's like, I really want to make things work for us. I love you and I forgive you. And Todd's like, great.
He's getting so many scenes of Todd having a bit of a worried look. Because it's not, you might look at this story and say, oh, it's going to keep going and we're going to be screaming for Todd to realise what's happening to him, and eventually he will. But even at these early stages, you can tell that he knows that this isn't right here, but he's just not.
Here's the problem.
Strong enough to leave yet.
Here's the problem, though. Who has a perfect relationship with a perfect person who's always lovely and great and never grumpy?
Not me.
Right, so, but these.
You were right until you said the never grumpy part.
When does it tip into like abusive? Like, obviously there are some really clearly obvious red flags here, but like Todd is probably just thinking, oh, who's perfect? Nobody. Maybe I've got smelly feet, or what? You know what it? There's no such thing as a perfect relationship.
It's a risk as well, isn't it? Saying, sorry, I can't do this, I'll leave you, because who knows if he's going to find anything that's...
Well, it's better to be alone.
There's lots of things that he still loves about Theo.
And
how long is it going to be until I find somebody who's got all of those qualities that are definite qualities of this guy?
Well, it's like, I will lose the lovely bits I love about this guy. I think at the moment it's worth it for the band bits.
Yeah.
So on Friday it's Noah's funeral, and we don't get to see it, but we do get to see Theo getting ready for it, and Todd helps him put the tie up and tells him he looks sexy in black and says, I know this is difficult for you. It's very complicated.
I thought they were going to make a joke about the fact that Todd dresses the corpses and he's used to putting a tie on somebody to make him look nice. He had to go around the back, didn't he? So clearly not.
No.
Unless they got a very strange way of dressing up the deceased at Shuttleworth.
Can you imagine every time he had to dress a corpse with a tie, he's like, right, George, sit him up. I can't do it this way round. So Todd's like, yeah.
It's like me though. If I'm, I've occasionally had to put a tie on a child at school, and I cannot remember for the life of me why, but I can't do it straight onto somebody. I need to come around the back of them and do it that way. Not the same with the tie on shoelaces, at least though.
No, I don't know how to do it. I remember when I was at secondary school, when I was gonna go to secondary school, I was so excited about like wearing a little tie. I thought, oh, I'm gonna wear a little tie, it'd be cool, but we weren't allowed to because we were girls. So Todd tells Theo, I'm very busy, I can't see you because I've got 2 funerals.
Oh yeah, he makes that lie, doesn't he?
And then he goes to Todd, and then he goes to George and goes, look, if Theo asks, say we've got 2 funerals, and then immediately Theo comes up and says, you got 2 funerals, and he's like, yeah, God,
play along.
I double booked. What an idiot I am. And
Billy's there, isn't he? Kind of. I can't
right,
remember.
So Todd comes out and he looks a bit harried, and then Billy comes up to him and goes, what's up with you? And he goes, nothing, I'm fine. And he goes, come on, tell me what's up. And then Todd says, I am feeling really run down and I had some blood in my, in my poo, and I've got to go to the hospital and get it checked out. I'm going to have a camera.
Going to have a camera up his bum. But I don't know how it works in Weatherfield Hospital, but you can't just turn up and have it all checked out like that. You got to have your preparation, haven't you?
It is kind of on brand for Theo to not notice Todd in the bathroom passing water all night because he's drunk a concoction.
You're not allowed to eat anything.
No,
you got to eat white meat the few days before, and then you're allowed jelly, and then it's nothing. Like, you can't hide a colonoscopy from the person that you're living with.
No, and you can't just rock up and be like, come on, check it out.
No.
Anyway, apparently you
can in Weatherfield, so there we go.
So they come back later, and Billy's like, don't worry, Todd.
I can't believe we didn't get to see the colonoscopy scene. It was a hospital scene as well. They could have done it.
Yeah, they're probably like, oh, should we just do it, shall we? And Gareth Pearce was like, no, thank you. You could do it without me, maybe. Is there a stunt bum in the house? Right.
But yeah, they did. That's what they used for Tyrone earlier this year, probably, wasn't it? When they had that picture of Hope photographing his crack.
Hi, is this the stunt bum guy? You know that you had an unflattering photo taken. What do you think about a colonoscopy?
We'll pay double.
Oh, I should bloody hope so. Danger money. So they come back later and Billy's like, oh, you did a great job. Don't worry about it. And he starts stroking his hand.
So that makes it sound like he was there during the insertion.
It was the best one I've ever seen. I've got to see your colon squeaky clean. I don't know what you eat normally, but it's fine. So
he just eats a load of dirty kebabs and takeaways, doesn't he?
Well, he's a pig, apparently.
Yeah.
I've heard Theo say. So he strokes Todd's hand, obviously, as soon as Theo appears. Pretends not to see this.
He pretends for a bit and then he calls him out on it later. But why would you do this? Like, Todd.
So Theo's like, what are you talking about? And Todd's like, nothing. Because he, for some reason, doesn't want Theo to know that he's had this done, which is also weird.
Yeah, well, I can't remember whether he gave a reason as to why.
At the Undertaker's, Todd is trying to ask him about Noah's funeral, but Theo's still asking him about what went on with him and Billy. And then he says, let's go, we've got to go for a double date with George and Christina at the bistro. But Theo doesn't
of the
want
week, Christina with George on a double date.
Theo doesn't want to, but he gets convinced, doesn't he? Yeah. And Christina's like, I don't want to be on a double date with this Theo. I don't like him at all.
This behaviour from George is just the sort of stuff that Eileen was saying. Like, he's completely blind to the fact that maybe a girl that he's going out with or married to wants to just have a lovely romantic evening. Like, why would you...
He's not married to Christina.
No, I know, but why on your first date would you say, can my friends come along too?
He's also got no boundaries.
And then he calls Billy over, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Christina's like, sorry, what?
I know. It's like when Todd and Theo moved out, he's like, can I still come around? No!
Well, if Christina tries to get George into bed, is he going to say, can Todd come, can Todd come and watch,
Do you know
please?
what? George would be great in a cult.
Do you reckon?
He's a very communal liver, isn't he?
Yeah.
So...
Anyway, Christina was a lot of fun during this.
She was brilliant.
She sees right through Theo, doesn't she?
Yeah. So, so eventually Theo comes as well. Todd, Billy, Theo... Christina, George, and Theo then decides to grill them again about what they were talking about. In public. He's like, so...
That was a real manipulative move.
And he does it in like such a cheerful way.
Yeah.
But like I said before...
What are you talking about, Todd?
It's when he's the scariest to me, because he's up to something.
That evil glint in his eye, he's really good at that.
So he's going, come on then, tell me what it was. And Billy's like, oh, what was it? Oh, I don't think it was anything, I don't think it was anything. And Todd goes, no, it was just chit-chat, wasn't it? General chit-chat. And Theo's like, no, come on, you must know. Surely you haven't forgotten. What are you talking about?
He's like, I thought it was the old lady at the hotel who had dementia, not you.
And this is when Christina's like, that was in poor taste. And they all get really awkward, which I think makes me feel like a bad person, because if I was at that table, I would have gone, yeah. Oh, is that not... We're not supposed to laugh. I'm sorry. So they get awkward. And Theo's like, come on, why don't you tell me? And then Christina's like, oh my God, just tell him. He's a dog with a bone, this guy. Won't shut up. And then Todd's like, hang on a minute. Don't talk to Theo like that. That's my boyfriend. I'm not going to have you insult him.
I'm trying to remember now, but I get the impression that... I think he didn't say it straight away. There was almost like a beat before the Pavlov dogs thing training awakens within Todd. And he's like... Don't do that against my partner, because
and Theo's sitting there beaming like, oh yes.
Well, I would think that if Todd's probably thinking, if I don't jump up to defend Theo later, I could be in for now. Then I could be in for it when we get back home again.
I'm never going to hear the end of this. If I don't say something.
So he's doing it out of fear of what will happen if he doesn't keep Theo sweet, which
he's also I don't know. I think he's also like, I'll make a scene quickly so that people forget they were asking me about what I was talking to Billy about.
Oh, yeah, I guess there's a bit of that.
So they get home and Theo's like, yeah, I love it. Oh, brilliant. What a
yeah,
tale.
he's like, yeah, get up them stairs.
Yeah, well.
I love it when you defend me.
There's just go down the corridor in that place.
Go in that room over there.
So he sends Todd off to the bedroom, but then he sees a message on Todd's phone
from Billy.
Hope you're okay. You know where I am if you need me. B, kiss, kiss. Come on, Billy.
I know. Well, I don't know how much more. What's going to be the snapping point for Theo? Because there's been so much that he's seen, the hand holding, this, just general Todd hanging around with him. What's it going to take until Theo punches Billy's lights out?
But again, this is like, if this was Sally going, hang on, why is Tim stroking Trisha's hand, or why are they texting each other? You're like, yeah, Sally, boundaries. Tell Tim to leave Trisha alone. But like Billy and Todd are like stroking each other and having secrets, and it's just winding Theo up, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so
but like I said before, they've never cared about each other so much.
That story,
apart from when they were dating.
That story is brilliant, and I look forward to every scene that's in at the moment. But that is it for this week's Street Talk.
This was a very brisk jaunt today. I think we normally get into more details, but we just don't have all that much time to get this done.
We are time constrained at the moment, so sorry for the brevity.
And my throat is actually going now.
I think that this week's Corrie started not so great, but as soon as Wednesday hit, I was hooked for the rest of the week. So I think I'm going to give this week's Coronation Street 4 small angry mechanics recovering from cancer out of 5. It was definitely it was more than the 3.5 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4 Michael Fish references from Christina.
4 big black clouds on Michael Fish's giant weather map out of 5. Who was a character of the week this week?
Well, we had Debbie being fabulous at Ronnie's birthday.
I mean, I'm thinking maybe it is Debbie this week.
We had Christina being fabulous. We had Glenda being fabulous.
I really enjoyed Trisha. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Just because I found her interesting and curious, and it's like, what's going on here? What's the story
Trish
here? Yeah, no, I think. I mean, even Kevin was pretty good, and Mike Lavall's put in a really great performance.
I really believed that he was throwing those clothes.
Totally. I don't know. Who are you thinking for character of the week wise? Sally was good. There was a lot of good characters this
week.
I do
feel like whoever I pick, I'm letting other people down because, like you said, it was a really great week for some good performances. But
Theo was a lot of fun.
I think I'm going to give it to Debbie because I just love her. The bit where she's drinking out of the bottle when everyone goes at Ronnie's party was hilarious.
Oh yeah, that was a great line.
And I also really liked the line when all the Websters and the Baileys are sitting around at the table, and then somebody offers Abi wine, and she says, "Oh, I don't drink. I got too good at it." I thought that was funny.
I'm thinking I might give it to Tim this week, only because he's probably a little bit underrepresented in our list of. How many times each character has been given character of the week.
Well, he'll never get it off me.
I very much enjoyed Tim this week. I thought he had a refreshing reaction to Brian's accusations that he was groomed when he was younger. I thought it was
interested in where this is going.
Yeah, a new story has interested me straight away. So yeah, I'm going to give Tim my character of the week.
Good for you.
Good for me indeed. Right.
Well, we've done that now, haven't we?
We have. That is the end of Street Talk.